Sport Subaru, North John Young Parkway. Go talk to our buddy Mike Stacks if you're looking for a Subaru. I have the WRX. I have the Subaru Forester.
What was your favorite?
The
Or do you like your
WRX.
truck? Or do you like the truck? Well, I mean, like...
Yeah, I mean, I love my truck, my Chevy Silverado I got from Don Mealy
I'm
Chevrolet
going to
in
go
Claremont.
truck, but a close second place...
That WRX was so fun to drive.
It's kind of
Every time
like,
I see Tony's pull up in my driveway,
Tony's
I'm like,
looks good, too, man, because Tony spent some time down at the dealership. I mean, he put some coilovers on it, and, like, his is like... He's kind of an enthusiast, and...
Yeah, their new dealership is awesome. And like I said, when you talk to Mike Stacks, you know someone going into it, and it's a good car buying experience.
Yeah.
In fact, you could hit him up. If you go to tomanddan.com and just fill out the Sport Subaru form, he'll hit you up, and like you can do a lot of this stuff through email back and forth. And so when you get to the dealership,
you don't have to waste your time. I remember back in the day,
make
my
it
dad
easy.
would have to go back to the dealership like 20 times before he bought the car.
And if you're interested in a Chevy, Don Mealy Chevrolet in Claremont is our Chevy dealership sponsor. They've got that mid-engine Corvette, the Silverado. My wife drives a Traverse that she bought from them, and she loves that SUV if you're looking for that. So we've got two dealerships. They've been sponsors of ours for a decade now.
Really, really long time. And they do good things, like that Subaru Share the Love event.
Oh, they do so much for charity.
Pumping millions of dollars back into the community for people with, like, terminal illnesses and stuff like that. I mean,
it's
you
a
know
great
that
brand.
it's a really good brand.
So it's Don Mealy Chevrolet in Claremont and oh God.
Hold on. Do you want me to leave this in?
Yeah,
that was the total. Like, you
I did all the commercials well.
You did so good.
What the hell is
you
wrong
get
with
right
me?
to the end, and you're like, oh!
Sport Subaru, North John Young Parkway. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan.
Couple things. Our ACT live show is coming up on the 31st of this month. So still a couple tickets left. And we got the after party coming up at Tuffy's right after that.
We do. It's going to be at the Wayne Dench Performing Arts Center, the little theater there and it's going to be killer. It's going to be so fun. And like Tom said, there's a couple of tickets you can scoop up, and the after party is at Tuffy's, and we'll go from there.
And last 2 weeks to book our Tom and Dan cruise. If you're interested in going on that, that's September. And but we have to, booking ends at the beginning of June. So basically May's the last time to book. So if you want to find out all the information, Tom and Dan Cruise2024.com.
Yes, sir.
So we've this is the last week of Fringe.
I know.
And we've got some Fringe guests in.
They don't like being called Fringers. I called the last one Fringers.
Fringies?
Fringas? No, don't say that.
The guests will be fringers, but I'll be a fringer too.
Okay, you like?
Anyone can
I
be
am
a
down.
fringer.
Let me, Alana, can you get that mic a little closer? Sorry.
I should have given her the spiel. We're running it loose on a Monday.
Alana and Billy are here. How you guys doing?
Hello.
It's Monday.
Good to see you guys. Thanks for being here, y'all. We appreciate it.
You look exactly like your mom, by the way. It's amazing.
I was going to say.
It's amazing how genetics work.
Yeah, it is. Science is a thing, man. Science is a thing.
As I was getting ready this morning, I did think to myself, I think I have 90s mom vibes.
Yeah, okay, well, let's talk about the
that's
show.
all back now, right?
So
let's dig into the show a little bit. How did you decide to, do a friend show, number one? Because I've known you as a performer for a while.
Yes,
now.
we just saw each other most recently at Truephonic was playing at Beer Fest.
Yeah.
And you were featured in Truephonic.
Did an awesome job, by the way.
You guys crushed it. What an amazing band, and we love live music. So we knew you did that, but I did not know that you did the Friend Show thing, because it is such a truly unique, and a lot of people don't understand what it is, but the easiest way for Tom and I to explain it is these are people that write, produce, do their own thing, but when you go and see it, all of the money goes to them.
Yeah,
and
all
it's
the
one of the
ticket
only
money.
times, it's one of the only times that you can do that and actually go and see a show that like the ticket money goes directly to the artist. Through the venues.
Yeah, because most entertainment business, there's, some sort of, fee that either the venue has to recoup, or, obviously you have to pay for the venue. Correct. Or promoters. There's a lot of different charges in between. So this Fringe, it gives the artists the opportunity to sell their own tickets for their own compensation.
But it also means that you guys are almost fully in control, so you have to do every aspect, right?
Yes. This is the very first time that I am a part of Fringe with my own show. 2 years ago, my mom, Naomi Bradshaw, she did her original one-woman show called Gone.
Yeah.
And she also won the award for Fringe for Best Original Score for her music. She just released an album, by the way. Everybody go check it out. It's awesome. And
it is really good. I've listened to it, and I've sent some emails to her about like how good it is. It's like the first couple tracks have like a throwback vibe too. That's very Sharon Jonesy to me.
Yes.
I'm on this Fringer, Sharon Jonesy. I'm creating new words today, folks.
Yes, I love it. But she was really the one when I went to see her show that I understood. I've lived here for a while, but I've lived in Brevard, I've lived in New York City, I've lived on a cruise ship, so I never really got to grow up in Orlando and watch the music scene or the theater and arts and entertainment world. Like, I didn't get to grow up and follow the artists that are around town, and like, it's just like a couple years ago I was with Corsets and Cuties, and I did, I believe it was a show called Confident, and we were at the Venue before that closed, and that was just sort of a separate venue though, so I wasn't really immersed in the Fringe experience. And Lock Haven Park and the Lawn and Kids Fringe, and there's just so many opportunities for so many performers to do their thing through Fringe. I like to tell people that it's local, national and international artists getting the chance to perform in some of the best venues in Orlando, pretty much for a discounted price, and because we get the tech included, sounds and lights, and all the help that we need behind the scenes. And I said after a few years of doing note-for-note tributes and album concerts with other people and other bands, I started to think, well, I think I want to do my own thing now. Nice. How can I feature myself, which surprisingly has been a little hard for me to do over the years, but I'm finally thinking, who can I feature too? I love featuring female artists. I love just sharing what we have to say. And it was between Amy Winehouse and Alanis Morissette. Nice. And that was brewing in my mind for about 2 years, I would say, just preparing and writing and thinking, what do I want to showcase about these women? And then I moved to Orlando about a year ago, and I started meeting all these amazing local musicians like Billy Wright, who's here with me today to play guitar. But I just hadn't met them yet until I moved to Orlando. So my entire band, Noel Coons, Dan Taylor, Elliot Countess, Kevin Green, Andrew Tanis, those are the members of my band. Then I have my director, Charles Stevens. He's a local musician as well, as just in the corporate world and the scene around here. And then Keith Charles Traver, who is my buddy that I met, I want to say in the 8th grade. We were doing musicals together, and we did high school thespian troupe together, and then we reunited after about 6 years of not seeing each other because all these people started coming together and saying, hey, we want to help you.
Sure.
And so once I started putting the energy out there that I wanted to do this project, I was just so excited and surprised that so many people were reciprocating the same energy, exactly what I was looking for, because you can really tell the difference between especially a show, a concert, but especially a tribute show to an artist where you're being really authentic and specific to the music and the style of the era. They can tell if you're just doing it to get by, like just another gig, and then they can tell if you really love the music too. And so I am so proud.
So you're going for the
band.
micro, decisions when you're performing it again.
I hope I answered your question originally.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, you did a great job. So when you're doing this and when you are performing it, I mean, I guess it's first got to start with your love for the artist, right? So how did you become a fan of Alanis Morissette?
Sure.
Like, how did that happen? Is that someone, would you say that's someone that has shaped how you do sound? And that's because, it's hard to say that without saying, hey, are you just going there and trying to pretend to bring along?
Right.
That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Let's explain the show. Jagged Little Live 95 is the title of your Fringe show.
That's right.
And it's Alanis Morissette. Is it all Alanis Morissette songs?
Yes, it's pretty much a tribute to the music of the Jagged Little Pill album, which was released in June of 1995. So coming up, the 29th, right? Almost the 30th anniversary of the album.
Oh, my God.
Right? I'm a 90s kid.
I remember when Coulier was doing the theater thing. I'm sorry.
But I was probably 9 going on 10 when I swiped the cassette tape from my mom's dresser. Or it was Jack Bradshaw, my stepdad. He came into my life, and he was a DJ at the time as well. So he had
Hey, what's up? It's Jack Bradshaw. This is Alanis Morissette on JRR, Daddy-O.
Love you, Jack.
You've just been Alanis by Jack Bradshaw.
Sorry,
You've just been honest.
I can't
like
make fun
that.
of you, so I'm gonna make fun of him because he deserves it. He's a horrible. Jim Colbert told me to say this. Jack Bradshaw's a horrible person. From Jim Colbert.
I love Jack Bradshaw.
Yeah, I love him too.
But he or my mom probably had the cassette tape. And at the time, I tell everybody this story that I had my little cassette player. And at the time, I had Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Turn the Page Christmas book.
Okay.
You know, like that.
Yeah.
Turn the page.
I had all of those.
Rudolph was very sad.
Yeah.
Anyway, chimes. And then I swiped that and switched it out for Jagged Little Pill and was probably just like alone in my bed under the covers like, what did she just say? I have no idea. But I love it.
Yeah.
And
she went down on someone in a theater.
I
don't know what that means.
They were dancing, I guess. Not sure.
Yeah, Dave Cooley. Yeah, he's a nerd.
But I just
Why
really,
is she into this nerd?
Yeah.
I just
fast
really
as fast
remember.
can be. You'll never catch me. Don't
He's a corny nerd dad.
Yeah, isn't he the jackalope from America's Funniest People? That show should have been around longer. That was Daisy Fuentes and that other guy, America's Funniest People. They go around to malls, and then they get some dumb redneck kid to do your impression.
But by the way, all those people not that funny.
Yeah, they were not, in fact, America's Funniest. They were not.
Sorry.
But so that's how I first heard the Jagged Little Pill album. I just remember doing that when I was about 9 or 10. And so many years went by, of course. I got involved with various groups that did note-for-note album concerts, and I started with Fleetwood Mac's Rumors as Stevie Nicks.
Nice.
Then someone asked me to sing The Great Gig in the Sky on the Dark Side of the Moon from Pink Floyd, and I said, I've never heard this song. I don't actually really know this music. And then once I started doing it, I was like, wow, I love this music. This is amazing. There's saxophone on this album? Oh, crazy, cool.
Yeah. Do you try to emulate the artist when you're doing that? Is that part of the...
Yes, that was part of my
thing?
job, I guess you could say, and how I sort of was trained to do that. And my musical theater background and acting definitely helped me with that. And Dark Side of the Moon felt like me getting back into musical theater again because we were using choreography and there was smoke and lasers. And since then, I'm in a different Pink Floyd tribute that I kind of tour locally with, more like in Central Florida. And so that just led me to say, you know what? I think I'm confident enough to do my own tribute. And I love Alanis Morissette's album. And that album was just so pivotal to the history of music, you know, just winning Best Album that year.
It's huge.
When really, it's not that she was unknown because she's from Canada and she started like writing when she was 10 and released an album and was touring by the time she was 14. And it was more like a teeny bopper 80s, early 90s sound, you know?
Right.
Never too hot, never too cold. You know, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And
Tom
so,
likes that stuff now. That's right.
I mean, I love it, the throwback, right? But Alanis's lyrics, suddenly she moved to LA and met with Glenn Ballard, the music producer, over like a course of 20 times, I want to say.
Sure.
And like in his home studio, like while O.J. Simpson's car chase was going on around, you know, it was like that era.
Yeah. There's a lot of energy at that time. Yeah. Good or bad, you know. I mean, but there's a lot of things, pivotal things happening.
A lot of
happening.
angst, a lot of, you know, just a lot of stuff going on in the world as always, right? But suddenly this 19-year-old young lady, as people saw her, because she's very sort of stoic in real life. She's very peaceful. I almost like to say like Mona Lisa in her interviewing, and then she's just wild and feral on stage. She doesn't care. She's her true authentic self, and I love that because it's a lesson for me in my life, trying to be note for note and learning, you know, theater and my role and stage presence and do the job, you know, like do it exactly right.
Well, it's important. I appreciate you being so candid to show us a little bit about like what you do to try and make it an authentic representation.
That's important to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't want to go there and just half-ass part of it. You want it to be the whole thing. Like, for instance, the photo of even your show, is that you?
That's me,
Yeah, well, that doesn't look like you. It just looks like Alanis Morissette singing a song, right? Like, the hair is exploding.
That's photographer Rich Johnson and myself coming up with really unique ways to make it, like, have the vibe of...
You did it. Yeah, well done, because it looks like what you're going for.
I'm so happy to hear that.
I remember as a young musician seeing and hearing that Flea and Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers had played on some of the... I think they played on...
Flea and Dave Navarro, my knowledge.
Yeah. Dave Navarro had played on You Ought to Know, I think. Mm-hmm. And you can hear it. And I remember when I was putting the pieces together of hearing it, and I'm like, oh, man, this is like a band that I really like combining with a band that I never would give the time. So automatically it gave Alanis Morissette the nod for me to listen to it because it had musicians I already respected playing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's weird how that happened. So I gave her a nod. Like, I was already a little more open to it because I was like, her rhythm section or whoever she's got backing her up, I already love them. So this is good stuff. And it's weird how that sort of happens.
What's so interesting is that what I'm actually going for specifically is like the live world tour concert version. And so we don't actually do the song list like the track Jagged Little Pill. We do it like the world tour Jagged Little Live. And then I say 95 because it's such an intimate venue at Fringe Art Space. It's 150 seats that, you know, it's a concert in there.
Yeah,
and it's a rock show. And it's intimate, though, which is really what I prefer when seeing an artist anyway, when listening to music, too. You feel like you're really there with her. And I wanted to be, you know, authentic, like I am Alanis A. And I just open up to people, though, and I just talk to them about when I discovered the music. And I'm like, guess what? I'm Alana. You know it. We all know it. But know that this is the show you're seeing. Jagged Little Live 95 is going to be the first draft, like the proof of concept for the tribute show that I was already going to be developing and hopefully take to venues around here, like Hard Rock Orlando, or like, you know, these venues that would have a tribute show anyway, but then we can invite all our friends and family from around here, you know, 2 sets where we're adding those songs that she was developing with her band. So she auditioned her band for this tour. And I tell my band, I was like, I auditioned you guys, and we are rehearsing for this big debut of Orlando Fringe. It's like we are in the thick of it.
Yeah,
you know,
doing
what
the
they
thing.
did. They're doing the thing, and they came up with these amazing live intros and outros of all the songs that are just very cool and unique. And so Alanis was writing songs for her next album, supposed.
How do you
Former
research
infatuation
all this? Do you have to
junkie.
like kind of dig in a little bit?
I love doing that. I'm very curious. I have ADHD, so I hyper-focus and delve into all these topics.
Yeah, it sounds like
I got that too. You're on Adderall? Adderall.
No,
Good.
I'm on life, baby.
Life.
You're raw down in life.
They have this thing called Adderall, and it's awesome.
Like last year, I delved into disco, and I watched all these documentaries about disco and funk
disco.
and that era, and I wrote all this music that sounds like disco. And then I get hired for a lot of rock. So my point is that if you want to come out, whether you are a fan, have never heard of Alanis Morissette's music before, or you're just wanting to come and support local music, or your Fringe goers, and the Teal venue, which is Fringe Art Space, it's a separate venue from the Lock Haven Park venues. It's downtown Orlando, 54 West Church Street.
Nice.
Really easy to get there. Lots of cool things to do around. We have a sponsor called Proper Orlando, and they are a club right downtown.
Oh, that's the one that Search is always at, right? MC Search is always doing his brunch nights there.
I guess so.
Really?
Yeah, I've always wanted to go to one, but I would be very scared because I'd have to meet MC Search.
Don't be scared.
No, he is intimidating because he's like a hip hop icon to me, and I don't want to meet him.
Yeah.
Like, I get freaked out like that. I didn't want to meet Fat Mike at the book signing. I don't
Well,
want
if
to meet.
he's listening, you would love to meet this man.
I don't want to meet Serge because it would.
Don't
I
meet
would
this
be like,
man.
I would shake. I would be like, yeah. He'd give me the gas face.
So, Alana, before you
Yes.
play a song, I have to ask you, when did you realize you could sing? Because your mom
you're
could
not
sing.
back to that,
well,
are you?
okay, well, because it
Singing is like a magical trick to him.
it makes sense that you're like this was passed on in your genes somehow, unless you
It's
learned.
inappropriate. Don't talk about her genes.
No,
What are you
I'm
doing?
just like because your mom's a
They're
singer.
ripped.
So, like,
Okay? It's rock and roll.
Were you really young and you're like, oh, I could just sing
Would you
because my
mimic
mom could sing?
Yeah.
Oh,
like-
well, that's a great question. My mom has been a singer my whole life, and before that, of course. And my dad is a guitar player, Roger. And then Jack came along, and he's on the radio. So I have all this talent around
he
me.
performs,
right?
You're right.
And I would say that I say that a lot of people, even though if it's in their genes, you know, if their parents did it or whatever, because I come from a long line of women on my mom's side who are singers and performers, like
Okay.
generations.
Yeah.
So
Oh, wow.
I think it is in our DNA. But if I didn't then start to sing in elementary school plays and then chorus and then get into drama, if I didn't pursue the career, then I probably wouldn't have really been
So
serious about it.
It's
you know?
talent plus fostering, then.
Yeah, but I do remember being like around that age, you know, maybe 7 or 8, and being with my mom, and I was probably like, quicker than a ray of light, she's flying. And she's like, how do you know that song? That's Madonna. What do you...
Right.
She's probably like, wait, you could sing,
You're
know.
just
and so
picking them all
then
up.
I started singing like just little solos here and there. And then I think when I was in my junior year of high school, I was Fantine in Les Miserables and my high school production. And I think everyone was like, oh, she's serious about this.
She likes this.
It was very dramatic, And then I went up to New York City a month after I graduated high school, and I pursued musical theater for many years. I lived up there for 8.5 years, and in that time, I went to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, and I went on to tour nationally and internationally with a puppet show called John Tartaglia's Imagine-Ocean. It was a blacklight children's puppet show that took me to Australia and Hawaii.
Really?
And, when you're growing up in school, they're not like, kids, you could make a living being a puppeteer or being on a cruise ship. I was a travel guide in Alaska for a while and presenting shows. And so...
No, I've met you many times, and your job
things.
you've done a lot of unique and interesting things, but they're all like entertainment...
related.
Jace, it is interesting that you've kind of been doing what I think everybody else started figuring out like the last couple of years, is that you don't necessarily need to be in the cubicle doing, you could go and do something that sounds a little weird and still make a decent living and meet great people and have a great time.
The point is follow your passion, no matter what you think it is, whatever. We're talking about the musicians being on stage and being able to tell if they care about the music, right? I had a friend tell me, very recently, because I've been going through rough times too, hills and valleys, leaving bands, drama, things like that. And now I'm finally with just this wonderful group of musicians, talented musicians. Like, they should be paid thousands of dollars a show, you know what I mean? But just no ego. There's no, any of that attitude in the group. And we all just want the show to succeed. And we all just want to play music. You know what I mean? And we love the 90s.
No,
right?
Tom and I are money and ego.
I'm money and Adderall.
Do they have a brand of Adderall called Ego?
And I have a sex addiction. We're just being silly.
Again,
I know some people that could help you guys if you want to talk. Need someone to talk to.
Help.
Yeah.
What happened to Tom and Dan today? Well, we plugged the show and then we got them some help.
But you know what? This album is therapy. Why don't you come to the show, guys?
There you go.
And just listen. It's intense, but you work through it. Then there's those lighthearted moments too. There's nice songs in there too. Hand in My Pocket. You remember all of those.
Yeah, that's my favorite song.
It gets intense, but then it's uplifting too.
Is that about Cooley too?
Every time you say that, I think you're saying Cooley A, like Coolio, and you forgot his name. Because I'm like, I have to figure it out. All right, let me make sure my cameras are going to work here, because I want to be able to see both of them. And this thing's it's acting crazy.
I need to get a sip of water.
Yeah.
Get her water.
Get her water, Tom. Go get her a fresh water while I'm fixing the cameras.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, talk to Billy while I'm fixing the cameras.
Billy, were you born cool? Was your dad cool? You had to have been.
I think he was cool.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. I'm going to fix this real quick.
I only mention all this because I've realized that I've passed nothing down to my sons that are beneficial to them.
What are you talking about? What do you mean?
Any talent or looking cool?
Oh, no.
I'm just saying, they didn't inherit any talent from me, like the ability to sing or any architecture, nothing. Just the bumbling, which
that's pretty confusing.
I think they bumble a lot too, but I feel like going to hurt them more than help them. I just ran into a career that had helped me because I just talk about it, and then
it's a little heavy, I think, for our guests when you bring them in and then drop on them that you've destroyed your children's lives.
Well, I didn't even try. I'm just saying I gave them nothing.
Like Billy does look cool. Billy does look cool, but he looks less cool when you drop a bomb on him. And he's like, he feels the need to help you now.
I left for 10 seconds to get water, and finally, thank goodness I found a La Croche.
Yeah, you got to get a La Croche.
Is that not how
our still water?
All I could find was beer and mayonnaise.
That's all we had.
All right, pull that, Melissa. Also, I would like to take this time to point out that our old friend Stephen Kramer used to call it La Crix, and he said he would die on that hill, and he is horribly wrong. And I want him to know that from South Carolina. I'm sending that to it out in South Carolina. Okay, you guys ready to do something?
Oh, yeah, we would love to play for you.
Okay,
let's do it. I think our mics are on here.
Yeah. We're going to perform one of the lighthearted songs of the album. I would say the love song. But what I love about it is that it's perfectly imperfect. It's not this love song like, I love you so much forever. It's like, here's all the dirt and the grime of the realness of a relationship.
Okay.
And I still want it and I still love it. And so, not toxicity at all, like in a healthy place. So I'm looking forward to that feeling one day.
I'm pretty toxic.
Yeah.
Toxic.
After a while, just you just become trapped. It's easier to stay together.
Yeah. It's loveless, but it's there.
Hear the key? Cool. Let's do it. La da dee I. Hi, yeah, did I had no choice but to hear you. You stated your case time and again, and I thought about it. You treat me like I'm a princess, and I'm not used to liking that. And you ask how my day was. You already won me over in spite of me. And don't be alarmed if I fall head over feet. And don't be surprised if I love you for all that you are. I couldn't help it. It's all your fault. Your love is thick and it swallowed me whole. And you're so much braver than I give you credit for. And that's not lip service. You already won me over in spite of me. And don't be alarmed if I fall head over feet. And don't be surprised if I love you for all that you are. I couldn't help it. It's all your fault. You are the bearer of unconditional things, and you held your breath and the door for me. Thanks for your patience. Hey. You're the best listener that I've ever met. And you're my best friend with benefits. What took me so long? And I've never felt this healthy before. And I've never wanted something rational. I am aware now. I like to think I am, but I am aware now. You already won me over in spite of me. And don't be alarmed if I fall head over feet. And don't be surprised if I love you for all that you are. I couldn't help it. It's all your fault. Oh, you, oh, la, la, la. Oh, you, oh, oh, you, oh,
All right. Yeah, that's
Holy smokes.
That is awesome.
A lot of people are proposing to you in the chat room. Yeah, we have like guys that like when you broke out the harmonica, I'm in love, or like some couple of inappropriate things being said. Yeah, they like that. We had a family riding down I-4, dancing in the car. Well done, man. Well done.
So, Alana, I noticed like the Alanis Morissette has like a certain singing inflection that you're able to do really well.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? Just her style of singing? Does it have anything to do with her being Canadian?
That's so interesting. I have been really researching into, and she listens to everything. Like, just in my knowledge, just listening to documentaries, watching some pretty cool documentaries of the world concerts and behind the scenes. Like, seems like she has a lot of influences. Annie Lennox comes to mind. I think The Police, Radiohead, but I just really listen to her. And my director, Charlie, he's helped me just really, he says, go for it. Do even more. Like when I do stuff, he's like, really? You want to do it? Go even further.
Well, it has to be exaggerated to a point. I mean, Tom brings up an excellent point. If it's one thing to go there and perform Alanis Morissette songs as you. That's you can do that all day long. You could just do them easy and just sing them. But it's another thing to go there and try to layer on top of that the real authentic Alanis Morissette, and then also it's confusing that your name is so close to her name. That's got to help, right? It's got to help.
One of my band members, I think Elliot, said we should have called it Alana's Alanis Morissette set. I thought the band should have been called Alana's Morissette, but I wasn't sure. Like if I traveled around, people would be like, "Who's Alana?" You never or disappointed that it wasn't really
bad. Isn't bad. That's not bad.
Good. I'll have a vote, but I do like Jagged Little Lie.
But the micro things, right? Like whether it be your hands or like pulling out a rogue harmonica. That's important.
It's
gotta have it.
It's not necessarily a prop, And this is the first time, by the way, I'm playing an instrument in front of people.
I was about to say, you learned harmonica for this.
I did. Okay. And I can play 3 songs on harmonica now. Each time I was like, man, I have to buy a different key harmonica.
Yeah. I found that out too. Yeah.
Else I would have had to learn a different
way. I was doing some Billy Joel, and I went in there and was like, I need 1 harmonica. And they're like, well, okay.
You're
and I'm
going to
like,
need 12.
Yeah. It's like you need that's why John Popper had that giant military belt. Well, he liked guns too. But he would stick all his harmonicas in his military belt because it had pockets for
it. Or one really fancy one, which I wasn't going to learn. So, but yes, I guess it's an extension of my physicality as well, because I actually had to look up like the difference between Alanis Morissette live interviewing, just talking, natural, just like this, and then on stage, she was doing such physicality that I was wondering, was that something else, or is it that just her channeling like all this raw emotion that's just coming out? And I try to do that too. It's not like I'm trying to mock or mimic her, but it's teaching me a lesson. Like I'm trying to be so note for note that actually being Alanis, she delved from all of that pop sensibility, and was just trying to be her authentic self. So I'm like, isn't that ironic? Don't you think?
Well, it's interesting because we've interviewed a lot of impersonators, right?
Yeah.
And every time they do an impersonation of someone, it's almost like you see when their brain clicks over and they start to mimic the either facial features or gestures of that person because it like helps them mimic the person or do the impersonation. And so I saw you do it as soon as you started singing. You were moving like Alanis Morissette.
I was getting it out.
And then it makes sense that if you're impersonating Alanis Morissette, just like we see comedians impersonate other people, that they almost like they switch over in their brain that
it's got to be hard.
That movement and something that helps them go, with your actual singing like her, because it is incredible. Because if you close my eyes, it's like you're listening to Alanis Morissette because she has that whatever that is, like the that tone.
I call it a yodel.
Yeah, it's almost
almost like a Cranberries-esque sort of tone of the 90s grunge, post-grunge, alternative rock, for sure.
Yeah, there was like almost like a little bit of like
a lazy singing.
It's like, but it's like I'm going to sing wild, but also I'm going to pull it back just enough to let you know it's controlled. You know what I mean? I'm going to go a little crazy.
Thank you, Billy,
but
by the way.
I'm going to pull it back a little bit. Yeah, you guys are great. Thank you guys for coming in.
He's such a good musician.
Yeah,
you can catch him at our next show. May 22nd, Wednesday at 5:55 p.m., Fringe Art Space. It's upstairs, downtown Church Street.
Nice.
And then Friday is 6:55 p.m. And I just want to say for this Wednesday show, we've just announced that we're doing buy one, get one.
Oh, nice.
So
Okay.
we want that show to be sold out if possible. Come to any show you can, but 2 shows left. And check out Jagged Little Live on Facebook. I mean, I'm Alana Chuyan Music on Instagram and Facebook, and jaggedlittlelive.com. You can see and read all about the band and see all of their social media and support them because they are great musicians. So hire them.
Sometimes that's the nicest
Awesome,
thing you
yeah.
can do for local musicians that really don't have a huge following, but
Follow
they're
them.
amazing, is just give them a follow on Instagram or something. Or if they put out their dates, I always try to throw it in my stories. Because I know a lot of
Yeah.
people watch my stuff.
Real quick.
I don't know why, but I put their stuff out there because it's just an easy thing for me to do to give it back.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
to
yeah.
like these people that are trying like their hardest to get people just eyes.
100%.
You just want
Yeah.
eyes. Hey guys, that
We
was awesome.
appreciate that.
Oh
Thank
man.
you.
Alana
Thank you for
Billy
having us.
Tham. No
We'll
problem.
hope to have you back some other time to do more. I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
having
we're gonna-
live
yeah,
music
yeah.
in here, you know.
And hey.
and I had the cameras fixed today, so it was only on you guys, and you didn't have to sit and watch Tom and I like watch you, like where it's like two weirdos like
Real
staring at you.
interested.
Yeah. Well, thank
would've
you guys
did
so
it.
much.
And hey, if you need an Alanis Morissette tribute band, you know who to call.
Oh, I was just thinking, it got my
you were
business
starting doing
wheels
a
there.
90s night. This guy, I already know. He's like,
All right,
90s
get
are
your
more popular than
Alanis
ever. There's money falling from the sky.
I
I'm
know.
90s Tom. We're going to have her. We're going to
Hey,
get...
I need an agent, so
Oh, you know what? I do that too.
Dude, all we need to start the night is
Yeah.
you, and all we need to end the night is Limp Bizkit tribute, and we are... It'll be,
That's it.
I mean, flush with cash.
And you know what good agents do? Adderall. So it works out perfect.
They do.
All right, we'll be right back. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan.
In the studio with us.
Yeah.
We talked to this gentleman last week, but he is in town for Fringe.
Yes,
Performed
sir.
last night.
Yes, sir.
Saw some BDMs at the show.
Yes, he did indeed. And now we have given him his first bag of the legendary chip known as Rap Snacks.
You've never had Rap Snaps?
I've never had Rap Snacks.
Chris Turner's here.
Oh, it didn't work. My thing.
Oh, your air horn
Oh, my God.
failed.
Hold on. Yes.
That's a siren. That makes it sound like I'm a predator.
Yeah. I have my Predator siren. It's broken. I got to get a new one. Welcome,
You've
man.
used it too often.
I have. There's so many predators in Florida. Good to see you, dude. How you been?
Oh, I'm good, thank you. It's lovely to be back. What a pleasure to return to this,
Well,
this
our-
hallowed ground.
Our guys like it when you come back to Orlando. You know, you got a lot of fans here, man.
Oh, well, it's been a while. Like the last time I was Fringe was 2018. So
Hasn't been?
I know.
Really?
yeah.
In my mind, every year on Fringe we talk to you, but that must be.
Well,
I mean that's very flattering. that
We
you-
have done some Zoom.
Yeah, you black out all the time in between we talk.
But there was some, there was some time in between there. There was some COVID, right? There was some
Yeah,
world
I
changing
forgot about
events.
that.
There was some of that, but a lot has been going on, and a lot of the things that I didn't know you were doing is like I knew you as the individual comedian. But I first knew you as the rapper who came and you were putting on your Fringe show, but then I didn't know you as the stand-up comedian. So then I got to see you as the stand-up comedian. But the number one thing that I didn't know after reading an updated bio, because you're the only comedian that updates his website and bio like all the time, so you're like organized and professional. But is that you're in a founding member of a troupe,
An improv
right?
group, back in the UK, I started out doing improv before I was doing stand-up. So my improv group's called Racing Minds, and we do improv comedy just one month a year at the Edinburgh Festival. But we've been doing it for about 15 years, and it's me and 3 people who are substantially funnier than me, which is the secret to success, right? Like, get funny people, go on stage with them. It's so fun. It's like it's a shame we can only do it once a year because they all live in the UK.
Sure.
But it's great fun. And the best fact about that group is that 50% of the group is visually impaired. So 2 of the performers are blind, and then after the show we like to ask the audience, guess who's blind? Because they can never tell.
Really?
Well, because it's just such a manic show anyway that everyone's always stumbling into things and falling over.
What would it take to get that show at our Fringe? Because I feel like they need
it's great.
that.
the Guess Who's Blind show?
Yeah, we need Guess Who's
We don't
Blind,
call
like,
it Guess Who's Blind. That would
that's
be
just our working
slightly
title.
insensitive.
I can tell by the cloudy eyes.
Stop it.
Chris laughs. It's comedy.
Yeah.
So now, I wonder if that makes the ability for them to be quicker?
Well, because when one of your senses disappears, your improv comedy sense improves to compensate.
Well, I can taste the jokes.
That is true, though. Like you
I don't know
get
what's true
heightened
anymore.
other senses.
I don't say that phrase anymore. I don't say it is true, right?
But
I never say that
probably
anymore.
has nothing to do with the way how fast your brain works, right?
No, they're just funny. They're just so
yeah.
funny. And I'm like, people are always like, how are you not as funny as them? And you can see the opportunity for jokes. I'm like, shut up. Shut up. That's offensive.
But it's cool that you've been doing it that long, though.
Yeah, well, we met when we were like 18, 19. And the weird thing now is like since I've seen you last, I'm a dad now. I've got a 2.5-year-old. And obviously, any mention of dad in this room, we must remember the famous Dead Dads rap. That was done in here, sprung upon me.
Yeah, the infamous Dead Dads rap. Yeah.
I remember that.
Written on my father's gravestone now, because he was unmarked grave for a very, very long time.
How's fatherhood treating you?
I love it. I really love it. He says, being in Orlando, away from his daughter. I love it when I'm getting sleep every night.
Yeah.
No, my little girl's amazing. She's great. The other day, my wife updated me that she had her first realization that capitalism is bad because they were at a street fair and they see a bounce house, and my wife goes, "Oh, Ada, would you like to go on the bounce?" She's called Ada because my wife's dyslexic, so Ada, 3 letters. 2 of them are the same. If you spell it back to front, it's still the same name, right?
Yeah, easy breezy.
And we see the bounce house, and she goes, "Ada, would you like to go on the bounce house?" She goes, "Yeah." And they get to the bounce house, and my wife's got like a $5 bill out, and she's like, "Hi, can we go on the bounce house?" And the guy goes, "It's $20." And my wife goes, "No, just her wants to go on." She goes, "Yeah, it's $20."
Well,
And my wife
that's a
wife's
New York price.
out of principle, she's like, "No." And my daughter's like, "But we go on bounce house." She goes, "No, Ada, it's $20. And Ada's like, Is that money? That's too much money.
Yeah.
$20?
That's
Is
ridiculous.
this a girl thing? Because like my daughter now has, Maymay has like money anxiety now. Like whenever we're talking about going out to, even like just going to dinner, like let's say we were going to cook and we went to the pantry and we looked and I'm like, "Oh man, I don't know about this chicken. We got to go out." She'd be like, "I don't know." Well, hold on a second. Let me smell it,
Yeah.
Or like
I think that's unique to the Dennis family because
she got it from her mom.
I've heard no other kids ever worry about or even have a concept
May's got
of
a
what
concept
money
of money.
is.
Yeah, she gets it.
Like, or how much $20 even can buy you, what they're buying. Like
well,
my
I mean,
son's-
it could get you 8 packets of wrap snacks, and you could have a sodium overdose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 8 packs of wrap snacks is good.
So, Chris, I wanted to ask you because you work with Coca-Cola and other companies. And
Yes, in the past I have. Yeah,
and we've talked to you about even working for Greenpeace and doing work for the.
oh dear, we spoke about that. Yeah.
Well,
That was hilarious.
so how does that even come about? Is that someone like they contact your manager? They're looking for someone that can freestyle rap, and then they look through
We're
the
not
internet.
cool. We need to hip things up around
And
here.
they're like, the CEO's like, "There's a guy I could talk to."
Usually the big brands work with agencies. They go to an advertising agency that they have a relationship with, and they go, "Hey, we want a campaign for this. Come up with ideas." And the ad agency, they're the cool guys, and they go, "We're going to do this thing where you walk around the streets of London and you rap for people," and they're like, "Whoa!" So that was how Coca-Cola worked. And so this agency come to me, they're like, "Hey, we want to film this. Would you come to the streets of London and rap?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do that. Give me loads of that Coca-Cola money."
Okay, well, that's what I'm asking.
Big soda money.
How do you price something like that? Do you look on Google, like, what's the going rate?
It's a hard one, isn't it? Because if they go through your agent can talk about money, can be like blah, 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 blah. Whereas if it's directly with you, you're like, "Please, can I have some money?"
Right, you're right,
Yeah.
you're right.
It's really expensive to go on a bounce house. I need the money.
The disconnect is a nice thing when you have somebody else asking for you.
So because you've done this a lot, Chris, I'm sure, and this has happened to us before, where like a company will ask, like, "Hey, I want to hire you guys for this. What do you charge?" Right? And we don't know what the rate is for something, because then we start researching and stuff. But then we think
I usually make it up.
and then we'll talk to other people that have done this before, and they're like, "Oh, they'll pay whatever they'll pay a lot," because we'll often undercut cut ourselves because we're like $1,000. They'll be like, deal.
Yeah,
they would have paid $10,000
when they immediately say yes. What I like is I tell them my price and then they don't get back to me for a couple of days. And I go, oh, you had to run this up the chain. You were like, wait, this white boy cost how much? I thought we were getting a white rapper, right? That should be cheap. That's the cheap rapper.
You don't understand. You got to see what he does. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. So, like, often for the big ones, I will put it to my agent because the fact that they'll then take a cut is offset with the fact that they'll get more money.
Yeah.
Direct. Often you just ask them. Like, I mean, the work with Greenpeace, you go, look, you're Greenpeace. You spend most of your money on, commandeering whaling boats. And, we are the captains now. Greenpeace is pretty violent.
I wonder if you could have asked for a boat. Like, give me one of your extra boats.
Can I have one of those whaling vehicles?
You don't have to even fix it
Does
up
it still have a functioning harpoon? I'm not going to harpoon any whales.
No, I just want to tool around it and then squirt people with a gun, like the big water cannon,
I like when they threw the stink bombs after.
Yeah, I do like that. I love that.
I'm like, these are hardcore. I mean, they shoot harpoons into whales. You think some stink bombs is going to slow them down?
I remember watching that show, Whale Wars, when remember when they had the speedboat and then they had the overly aggressive, like, masculine dudes that would drive the super speedboat? I don't know if you remember any of this, but it failed instantly. Like, it went through a wave and they're like, I'm sorry, it's sinking. And then I found myself rooting for the Japanese guys that had the water cans that were spraying Greenpeace. I'm like, go get them. Get Greenpeace. I don't know why I was doing that, but I like their water cannons.
So wait, this is like, because I know Japan has this history of, like, very strange game shows. Wait, did they make a whale hunting game show?
No, it was like
Whale Wars.
It was like a show that you're supposed to follow these guys that are, like, stopping this illegal whaling, but you ended up seeing how bumbling the whale. Like, people were, you ended up, like, almost rooting for the whalers because
they, like, fire the harpoon and they hit their friend's boat.
Yeah, no. They crashed a lot. The little speedboat vessel.
The Greenpeace people, they were trying to throw the stink bombs, and the Japanese whalers were pretty organized.
Yeah, they had a big-ass water cannon. They were like, boom.
Like, this is a major business, and we make a lot of money. We'll water cannon you.
We've been killing whales for hundreds of years.
Yeah, I love it. It's like watching Ice Road Truckers, but rooting for the road. Come on, Ice Road!
Break underneath them.
The chat room remembers all of it. I might have to go back and find that show because it was terrible.
So after, like, they want a man on the street type of deal, I'm sure, but then I always wonder with the man on the street stuff because, like, magicians realized this a long time ago, like David Blaine and stuff, where they're like, well, we'll just fake the man on the street because it's easier to hire some actors to pretend to be amazed than it is to actually get the genuine reaction. It would take a day of filming. We'll just hire somebody nobody will know, so
yeah, it depends where you film. Like, if you're a lot of the man on the street stuff now that's, like, all on shorts on Instagram, a lot of that is pre-planned. Like, you film that with a performer. You film that with someone who's trying to promote themselves. So I did one recently for this guy who's, like, big on Instagram. He's like, hey, I think you're really good. Can I do a thing where I come up to you? I'm like, hey, what do you do? And then you'll be like, I'm a rapper. And then you rap for me. And people will be like, wow, he found this guy. You're like,
wait a minute. Is that the guy that goes up to people and he goes, hey, what do you do? And every time I'm like, that's Lisa Ann, the adult star. Or, because I'm such a pervert that I know all the porn stars and I know he's doing it to find the perverts.
It's not that guy because that would be strange. He'd use me.
No, he does it not with just porn stars. He does it with, like, he'll slide a famous person in there. Yeah. He'll slide in, like, somebody that you kind of know. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, nothing against him, but it is the laziest entertainment you can provide.
But people love it, dude.
I know.
People love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's good work if you can get it, right? I mean, one of the problems in London, filming in London, was that everyone on the street is a tourist. So I'd be like, hey, what do you want to rap about? And they'd be like, I'm sorry, what? And you're like, what do you want me to rap about? And they'd be like, how about Brexit? And I'm like, rapping about Brexit for Frenchmen, and at the end they go, okay.
You were confused. I'm having goosebumps on my arms. It's like Arsene Wenger's here from Arsenal. Like, I miss our old coach.
I love that is your French reference. You not Thierry Henry.
No,
not Robert Pires.
Because always at the press conferences afterwards, they'd go, what do you think? He'd be like, and I'd be like, ah! Sorry. I get mad.
So yeah,
Thierry Henry, what a player.
and then so when you do, and we've talked about like on Zoom last week, we were talking about how Greenpeace didn't even use the footage that you did
Well, I
for
think
them.
that's
in the
pretty
paper.
awesome.
So
You
when
still get paid.
So when you do the Coca-Cola stuff, do they even tell you where they're going to use it?
So that was a really weird one. That was specifically for an app. This is like from back in the day. It was an app called Whoa, which stood for Where Only Awesome Happens. And if you're like, wow, that's cringe, it was purely for Eastern and Southern Europe. And I was like, Southern Europe, like Spain, they go, no. Like Albania and Macedonia. And I'm like, sorry, so what? This is a Coca-Cola app for... And they're like, yeah, you're in Hungary, they'll see these. And so...
Well, that's where Only Awesome happened.
It was these man-on-the-street things in English put out to this Hungarian app. And no one saw them. Definitely no one downloaded this app. It had no ratings on the App Store. It had... All the content on it was good, because it was... I was in it. But, my God.
Pumping money into it,
Coke
right?
money,
Yeah. I mean, it just shows we have to get all these Hungarians hooked, because Hungary is a Pepsi country. Like, I've been to Hungary enough to know that, Pepsi is cheaper than Coke, so of course we drink Pepsi. Why we drink Coca-Cola? Coca-Cola is bourgeois.
Wow, that's a Carolina. That's like turning your back on Georgia, man. Right?
It's weird. I would just
Pepsi's a Carolina thing.
assume that like the big brands are in every single country and have equal advertising, but I guess it makes sense that like Pepsi got in there early. And
I think it's like Risk, right? When you play Risk, sometimes you just abandon one of your countries.
Yeah, you forget
like,
about it. It's
Pepsi's got that one.
That's hilarious.
Chris, I was looking at your website and I want to talk about the Rap Battles book.
The game. It's a game.
Yeah. So
apparently we had a listener pick it up, right?
Yeah. Some people buying the merch.
Hell yeah.
So when did you come up with this idea, and tell us about it?
So about a year ago, this guy gets in touch. He's like, hey, I think you're great. I work with DK Games, which is a branch of Penguin, the publishing company, and we make games, right? And like Cards Against Humanity is such a huge hit. We want to make a rap version of that, but we are not rappers. We looked around to find freestyle rappers, figuring that would be the best kind of thing, because you're making up rap, so you need someone who can do it. They were like, look, we looked at everyone. You are the perfect person for this, because you're comedy, you're freestyle rap, and you're smart, and we think you probably like games. And I was like, all right, stereotyping me.
I mean, also, I feel like size of vocabulary kind of matters.
Yeah.
I would put you in that category, because I know you're smart, and I know...
went to school
big dictionary energy.
Yeah.
Didn't you go to school for like grammar?
I mean, I went to...
You went to grammar school.
In the UK, I went to grammar school.
I thought that was word school.
Hey!
This is Florida.
I went to Oxford University, so it's good to use my brain.
There you go.
But they get in touch like, so we want you to make a game. They go, all we have is the title. We want it to be called Rap Battles. And they're like, you design the game. So I set about figuring out how you'd make a rap battle card game. And it's super simple. It has, it's like Cards Against Humanity. You get 2 types of cards. One is the setup to your line, and then the card that gets flipped over in this table is the word you're going to have to rhyme. And it's super easy. So each person has 5 cards. Each card has a setup line on. So it might be like, you shouldn't play with me, or another one will be like, your lyrics are weak. And then in the middle of the table, flip over a card. There's 3 words on it for difficulty levels. So first word might be bass. Second word might be arbor. Third word might be crystalline. And then you just have to create a rap diss against the person rhyming one of those words. And that's how the game goes. Keep going. It's a great drinking game.
Tom stuck in crystalline.
I don't know what that means.
But you could do bass. You could do bass, right?
The ass.
No. So like, you take your lead in.
Yeah.
You take your lead in line. So you'd be like, your rhymes are weak, right? So you go like, your rhymes are weak. They really suck ass. I'm going to reel in this battle like I'm catching a bass. Boom. And then they go, and then you win that round, right?
All right.
Easy game. And it comes with like a nice booklet with loads of nice art in. It explains how to play. It has tips for freestyling. It has the best beats to freestyle over. It is, I mean, to advertise, it is available from all good stores. You can buy it in Barnes & Noble. You can buy it on Amazon. It's on sale on Amazon right now. I think it's like $17.50.
Oh, really?
Or you can buy it from me directly at my show for the limited edition, which is $30, which comes with a holographic sticker, and I sign it. And on some of them, I've kind of rubbed the cards against parts of my body to give them that special power.
Yeah, I like that.
My favorite bit about the game, actually, is there's these 5 cards. Have you ever played Exploding Kittens?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, you get the Exploding Kitten. Oh, I got to deal with that, right?
Yeah.
I kind of put in like these Exploding Kittens cards, which are called disc cards, which are just unrhymable words.
Oh,
so at any point where your opponent's about to rhyme, right before they're about to do it, you can just like flip down this disc card, and then they have to rhyme that word. And then suddenly they're not trying to rhyme bass. They're trying to rhyme anti-disestablishmentarianism or supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Gotcha.
But the risk is, if they do rhyme it, they then take all your cards. So
what's the trick to that, Chris? Because I'm sure, like, do you look at other lyricists and other rappers and like see what they're doing? And, like, there are different techniques that you observe from other rappers, like Eminem through like social media. There's other rappers like breaking down like Eminem's raps and like see what he's doing here, and they're explaining it, stuff that I would never even notice.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Like they're like he's rapping every other verse, a word to this verse.
It's really no different than hitting, well, it's like a more sophisticated version of playing drums with your mouth, I guess, but like sliding the word in there or rhyming it on a different area.
And changing the word, the ending of a word to make it fit, to kind of force the fit, which to me is kind of cheating. You know,
I allow that. I mean, that's like...
yeah, but that's part of your style, I feel like.
One of the tricks I learned really early on is, you know, a word can rhyme with anything because every word contains sounds that aren't in the word naturally. And by that I mean, this is an example by Snoop Dogg, right? California does not rhyme with as many words as California, because A is a rhyming sound that's really common. So if you want to say California in a song, then say California. And then if you want to rhyme California, you've got the I in there. You've got the on. So you could be like California, the place I was born. You know, like you're there's so many ways to rhyme words.
Tom was inspired by that. I heard it breathing. He's like, oh.
But I don't approach it from like that scientific kind of let's break it down in the same way that as like a musician, I'm self-taught. So the show I'm doing here is a musical comedy show.
Yeah.
I don't know chord theory. I just know what sounds good. So when I'm writing music, I work with someone who understands music, and I go, hey, this part of the song's going to go like this, then this, and I want it to do this. And he goes, okay, so that's this key, and it's this progression. I'm like, great. I just know that sounds good.
Right. So by ear. Like,
so, that's the same thing with rapping. I'm not going, how does Eminem do this? I'm going, well, I've just listened to Eminem since I was 11. I mean, by listen, I mean, I have not listened to Eminem for a long time.
Yeah.
When I was 11, I listened to Eminem a lot. So I've kind of absorbed how he does it, and I've absorbed how other people do it, and I do it my way. And now, like, my listening to rap is so limited because it's pretty difficult to freestyle over the beats that contemporary hip-hop uses because they're either too slow or too fast.
Sure.
And I can freestyle up to about 130 BPM, maybe a bit more. That's far too fast for the average listener to track along to. But most modern rap is like 154 BPM, which is fine if it's written, and also so much modern rap, the lyrics kind of don't matter anyway.
Yeah,
you rap at half speed, but then
they really don't.
Half speed freestyling of that, if I'm making up a rap at this pace, you're like, well, that's not impressive. Anyone can rhyme when they've got a second per line to think.
Did you start like that, though? Or I mean, I'm sure people can start like that.
I started rapping over Outkast beats from the Stankonia album. So, like, rapping over Bombs Over Baghdad.
That's a hard one, though.
And it's good to start rapping faster and then bring it back.
Yeah, it's got I just saw some guy online break down that beat about how they made those snares that go.
Yeah. My preferred,
crazy.
But the opening night of this show, I used a beat, and at the end of it, it got this big exhale from the crowd, and I was like, oh, you guys have just been listening the whole time, rather than the beat was too fast for them to like applaud or laugh. They were just sat there like listen.
They're just saying,
I was like, okay, I'm gonna slow.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm slowing down that beat because I need pockets where you can go, oh, that was good,
Yeah. So the new show, you said, are you doing more than just rapping there? Are you singing? Are you like?
I sing, I dance. It's a full musical comedy show. Like,
dig it, man. So
all the genres, and it covers so many genres. We have like a musical theater opening. We have an 80s banger. We have a country ballad. We have a doo-wop like thing. We have a Kesha style song.
Oh, I love it. It sounds like a bit of a challenge, but is this something? Is that what you wanted to do? You're like, I've done the rapping things. I'm going to do everything.
Yeah.
Now.
So there's rapping in it as well.
Sure.
But I like to kind of show off on stage, and so this show was me going, hey, and look, it's not just rap that I'm good at. I can do all these genres as well, and also it serves the purpose of the show. The show is me exploring how, as a kid, I wanted to be a performer. I didn't want to be a rapper or a rock star or a comedian. I wanted to perform. I wanted to be all of those things. Those are all things I said I wanted to be as a kid. So I'm like, well, why am I just letting myself be a rapper or a stand-up? I should also be a rock star. I should also be a country singer. Like, I love, in the pandemic, I was in Colorado for 2 years. I unironically wore a cowboy hat.
You wore a cowboy hat.
I will say I was up in the mountains. I was 8,000 feet on the
I was shopping for cowboy hats this morning for no reason other than I just felt like I needed a cowboy hat.
Where are the mountains?
Gunnison, which is like 8,000 feet up west of Denver, about 4 hours west. And that's where my daughter was born. I kind of lie a bit in my show and say she's Brooklyn born and raised. She's Brooklyn raised, but she's Colorado born.
Where in reference to
either state, she loves smoking weed. Wow.
Where in reference is that near Glenwood Springs and like Aspen and all that?
So it's super close to Aspen if you had a helicopter, which a lot of people in Aspen do. If you fly 20 minutes south of Aspen over a mountain, you're where Gunnison is. But
that's in the middle of nowhere.
It's a 5-hour drive round to Aspen. Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you end up there?
So like you take
my wife's family lived there. They moved out there to this ranch.
I bet that's so nice.
Oh, it's sick. It's so cool.
You like being that. You like that sort of secluded.
Well, for the pandemic, like we just kind of went there and it was isolated, and they made a big deal that in the when the Spanish flu came in 1913 or whatever it was afterwards a bit. They were like, Gunnison County was one of 3 counties where there were no casualties from the Spanish flu. So when COVID hit, they were like, we're going to quarantine ourselves down like we did back then. We're going to have no casualties. Too late. Everyone died.
We're Gunnison.
It's already here. It was here 6 months ago. Colorado is a great state. And then being in the mountains is awesome. Like, I go out there every year, and I just love it out there.
Yeah,
quite the change from Brooklyn, I would imagine.
It is, right? Yeah. It really.
But you like New York a lot, right?
I love New York, man.
Yeah,
New
better
York's
than LA, right?
Yeah, way better.
Because you did that.
I was in LA 4 years.
Yeah.
Brooklyn is where it's at. Like New York specifically.
Is it the people? Is it there's something going? Angel, our friend that we know, he's where his family's from and everything. And he's always talking about the energy. There's always something going on.
There's people. You can walk, and when you walk, you see people on their stoops, right? Which is the pretentious way they say steps. I'm just sitting on my stoop. You're sitting on the steps outside your house. Stop being so performative. No, this is my stoop. Hey, I'm sitting here.
I'm stooping over here.
I'm stooping here. What, you stoop? Oh, God, I should say that to someone next time. You just see people, and there's the corner stores, and there's parks, there's green spaces. Like in LA, it was just brown, parched grasslands.
Yeah.
And you don't need to drive. The subway. Without the subway, I wouldn't have the 30 minutes of material that I've developed since moving to New York. Because, God, on the subway they have these posters that say, "Be courteous. Don't be someone's subway story." And I'm like, the people who are someone's subway story cannot read. They are.
And I'm not sure if it's that all involves any sort of courtesy. You know what I'm saying? Like a pretty random act of an insane person.
This is a bit from a show, but it's a true story. So I was on a subway, and this guy comes on. He's got this massive Bluetooth speaker, and he starts playing music. It's like, right, this is what everyone's listening to now. Okay. And I was like, tell you what, like my noise cancelling headphones aren't blocking this out. I'm just going to turn that off, save the battery. I'm going to listen. And like it was really good rap. I didn't know what it was, but like it was proper good. And I'm just listening. I start kind of nodding along, and then he looks at me, and I'm like, oh. He knows I'm listening to his music.
He knows I like it.
And the lyric, I didn't check. I'm allowed to be rude on this, am I?
Yeah, it's fine. We'll bleep it out.
I hear the lyric. This lyric stuck with me for days. It was, "She's in my she nasty." And that was it. I heard that. I thought that is brilliant.
Oh my God.
And so I'm like,
the password for my email.
I'm like Shazamming it, trying to figure out what the song was. But like we're underground, so it won't do it. And I'm like, So I didn't know what the song was because you can't just ask, "Excuse me, hello, sir. Pardon, who is this composer?"
Who catch that glass ball?
I must play this at my next soiree. And so I then find out it's a Pop Smoke song.
The chat room nailed it immediately.
Yeah.
We have a lot of hip hop heads in there, and they were like, "Bam!"
So I live right by the cemetery where Pop Smoke is buried, which makes it sound like I live in the hood. No, he was buried in a really nice cemetery.
Okay.
I'm not in Canarsie. I am in Park Slope, and. Even though Pop Smoke should be from Park Slope, because then it would rhyme.
Yeah, it would make so much more sense.
Oh, ask me after this story. Ask me to tell you about my friend Lee, who does a bit of freestyle rapping. Okay. But so I'm listening. She's my she nasty. So I look at Pop Smoke and I'm like, wow, that's so cool. Like, what would my version of that song be? And I figured it would be, "She's my I'm grateful." I'm a lucky pup. Oh my, much obliged, madam. So that's the bit. The truth is, I heard that song and it was like, "She's my she's nasty," and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." That was how I first heard Pop Smoke, and that's because he's New York, he's Brooklyn. So I was like, I got introduced to Pop Smoke by being on a subway where a guy, maybe it was Pop Smoke playing his own song.
Exactly.
I don't know. I did not make eye contact with that man when he realized I was nodding along to his song.
So, what's up with your buddy Lee?
So, I do a kids comedy show in the UK with this guy called Lee Kyle, who is a Geordie, which means he's from Newcastle, and I can't do the accent.
All right.
But like, I was talking about stuff. He goes like, it's difficult with your name, Chris, because like often a lot of rappers will say their name when they're freestyling as kind of filler. He's like, you don't do that. I go, no, I don't, because one, I try and eliminate all filler. Two, Chris Turner. Like, in my head, if I was ever going to rhyme it, I'd be like, yeah, he's a quick learner, Chris Turner. But also in my head, I'm always worried that I'd rhyme it with like, he's like gonorrhea, he's a real burner,
Right, yeah.
So I'm like, I never say it. And he goes, "Oh, spare a thought for me, mate. I freestyle and my name is Lee Kyle." I was like, well, no, that's good because your name's Lee Kyle, so you can freestyle. When I'm freestyle, I'm Lee Kyle. He goes, "No, whenever I'm freestyling as Lee Kyle, my brain always wants me to say Sieg Heil." I was like, yeah, you definitely can't write that. You definitely cannot say that.
And also, why does your brain...
I can't do it.
Yeah, don't tell anybody. Your brain goes...
Never tell people that.
And it's weird that your accent is from Newcastle, but when you freestyle, you do it in a German accent. Lee. Why do you do that?
Well, Chris, how many more Friend shows you got left this week?
I got 4 left. Okay. I've got shows Wednesday and Thursday. They're both around about 9:30.
Nice.
Double check because you can't be late to Fringe shows.
No, you cannot.
And then Saturday and Sunday. I think Saturday we're at 8 p.m. Sunday we're at 4 p.m. And those shows will be super fun because they're the final ones of the run, and they'll be, Saturday and Sunday energy. So I recommend getting tickets to those.
The last shows open up sometimes and get crazy.
Yeah, I recommend getting tickets to those sooner rather than later, just because my Orlando Sentinel review came out today, and I was highly recommended, which apparently is pretty hard to get, and it was a really, really nice review.
Wow.
In the Orlando Sentinel.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. I don't know where to find that. I'm pretty sure you can find it online. Orlando Sentinel. Yeah. Or you could just Google Chris Turner and then see how awesome he is.
We're telling you. We're as good as the
There's
Sentinel.
an infinite amount of videos on your own social media. Just you killing it every
I posted, people should head to my Instagram, which is Chris Turner Comedy, and my YouTube, which just search Chris Turner. I just posted a video just before coming in, which is a 30-second snippet of, because I do a lot of freestyles that I don't put online.
Yeah.
Just because I do like 12 shows a week, and I put one freestyle rap out a week. So I have a huge backlog, but also the backlog gets longer and longer because there's stuff from 4 years ago that I'm like, well, it's not relevant, or I'm not going to post that anymore, or I've forgotten what the beat was, so I can't post it without getting sued by someone going, you didn't pay me for that beat.
Yeah.
So I sometimes just pull out snippets of bits of raps. The rap was good, but I'm like, this bit needs to go out. And I just posted one today where the topic is inverted nipples.
Okay.
And someone was just like, inverted nipples. And there's 30 seconds of me rapping about inverted nipples. And it's pretty... It's pretty sordid where my mind goes. I'm like, I watch it because I black out when I rap, right?
Yeah. You've told us that.
Yeah, it's very much like drinking. I just watch it back. I'm like, God, why am I talking about poking people's inverted nipples and rubbing my finger on the inside?
Well, that's what I was thinking. I mean, I feel like that's the only thing you do with inverted nipples.
I also feel like I haven't opened up my rap snacks. I'm
You can save them or take them with you or eat them.
No.
Whatever you want.
I feel like I should give. This is the Lil Baby.
Yeah.
Lil Baby all-in hot flavor with salt and vinegar, barbecue, onion, garlic, cayenne pepper, and more.
Yeah.
The more is the sugar and salt.
It's basically like, the Canadians, they like those all-dressed chips.
Yeah, I love those.
I think that's what this is.
It smells good.
All right, first time eating rap snacks.
Yeah, Rap Snacks Live. Rap Snacks Live. This might get our endorsement.
They're great.
Yeah, they're really
They are
really
so salty.
They're very seasoned.
It is just, yeah. I mean, look, the stereotype is white people don't season their food. I'm going to say too much seasoning. Not to start a new...
Blew this white guy's sleeves off.
Not to start a new rap beef with Lil Baby, because judging by your jewelry, you're very successful and potentially violent. Like, if you're called Lil Baby, you're not an unviolent person. Like, I know Da Baby. I know he killed a man, right?
Yeah.
You can be called Da Baby. If you were called, like, if I was Chris the Killer, you're like, he's never hurt anyone.
Yeah, he's soft.
So Lil Baby, potentially more seasoning than is required. I think you could cut down on the number of ingredients, which would increase your profit margin, which I think is very much going back to the bounce house.
Exactly.
But fantastic flavor.
Yeah. You can only eat about 3 of them before you need a big old jug of
I
water.
love it. This is great.
Man, thanks so much for coming in. We love having you. We love, our friendship and the fact that you pop into Orlando. Don't be a stranger, and good luck on the shows.
Yeah, grab those fringe tickets.
We got guys grabbing tickets right now. So, guys.
We almost left without Chris doing a freestyle.
Well, I hate leaning on it. Like,
I was like, guys, do you not want me to rap?
No. I feel self-conscious about it. I really do. It's like when we get guys, I don't like them burning bits. I don't like them talking about something they always talk about.
I did my legendary Pop Smoke on the Subway bit. So.
Well, it's like when someone comes in and they have a particular talent, and then it feels odd just across your arms. You're like, do your thing.
You're known for your Trump voice. Do your Trump voice.
We know you get paid for this. We're promoting a show for people to go see you.
We just talked about capitalism. We were learning. It was a learning moment.
But do it for us, so we take the value and put it on our show, and we make the money. That's how it kind of feels.
Make us rich with your raps.
I don't mind that at all. You've given me this, and I'm going to take home an extra bag of this because.
But
please.
Here's how I'll tie it in, because you can get personalized raps from Chris.
You can indeed.
On his website. You're on Cameo. And you can pay to get a personalized rap.
You can indeed.
So we can promote that with you doing a personalized rap about our friend EJ.
Oh yeah.
And I'll give you some some traits about EJ, and you could rap about him. He's big and fat. He's the fattest guy we know.
He's disgusting.
Yeah, he is a former college football player.
Yeah, and former comedian.
Yeah. Well, he's actually technically a comedian now, but he's horrible at it.
Yeah, well,
he's a horrible stand-up.
He's comedian in like that he did it, and then like he doesn't do it anymore, but he still calls himself a comedian. He's one of those guys.
Well, that's if you are a convicted pervert, you are still that for the rest of your life.
So, we have another guy, Kenny, that is a convicted pervert.
Well, also EJ is kind of a pervert because he does like to get choked out by his wife.
And his wife is little, and he's gross and big, and she has to like literally put her knee in his neck.
And he does wear the same University of Miami polo out to all these events to tell everybody he used to be a UM football player.
And he poops his pants.
Well, that's not confirmed, but we're just guessing.
We've heard that.
yeah.
Do you need a
Amazing.
beat?
I would love a
Okay.
beat.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not
What-
going to a cappella rap about
where do you-
EJ.
I'm going to have you give me one or give me a name of something you like.
Oh, I
and
mean,
then-
no. What's
Instrumental.
Well, I feel like we should go. If he's a big fat boy, we should go with some Biggie, shouldn't we?
Okay.
Why don't we go with Hypnotize?
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
That's about 100 BPM. So it's pretty fun to go with. And you know, you get that Biggie fat noise. That
Junior Mafia.
okay. We got the trio in the booth, that's a three-way. Let me spit bars today about the EJ. I got several things, little info, little facts. He ain't a little chap, yeah, you know my boy's fat. He's a big lad, walking with his belly. A little rap snacks, yeah, so many. He can eat that, yeah, you know I admire his spice from the pack. So you know I spit fire in the mouth, he's allowed. What is he like? He's got a very polite, nicely inclined wife. Even though she's skinny, she shimmy up next. She be like, EJ, I'm gonna sit on your neck. I use my knee in it like I'm Ronda Rousey. He's chewing their sex with the food in his mouthy. He be loving it. Lust for his mammy. Where did he go? The University of Miami. He wears the polo, rolling for sure. You can see the rolls of fat under there, pretty pure. Gotta reach inside and clear the grease. When he's outside, it defies belief. He's got his pants. He be taking the chance. You can tell that about EJ with a glance. You're like, oh no, from your backside spurt, you're a comedian, not like the pervert who was your friend. Remind me of his name. He was convicted. You can say it again. Kenny, yeah, he's a killer. If he's inside, yeah, you better shiver because he's coming close to you. Maybe got those eyes. Anyway, back to EJ. He supplies. He did comedy once. Yeah, holy smokes, it was terrible. He had like 0 jokes. He just sat there. The crowd was in trouble. They just heckled, yo, do the truffle shuffle. Get your belly out, move it side to side. The beast, you know the laughs. Yeah, I'm feeling slide. I hope EJ's not your next guest coming into me like, yo, give him a rest. I mean R.I.P. because the boy spits rap. There we go, EJ. Yeah, he gets no clap back.
Hey, hold on. Will it work now?
It's
Oh, Kenny's nearby.
It won't work.
It's amazing when because I'm trying to figure out how your
No,
brain
you
is
can't.
doing.
You can't do it. You can't do it.
It's like
It
a magic
defies-
trick.
it defies that.
Like I'm hearing. I'm like, how's his brain? Is his brain?
It's just effortless. It's like very.
Is it ahead of itself and then
Yes.
it's working backwards?
That's what I think it feels like. It feels like you're already kind of doing the calculations over
Like-
here, and by the time it gets over here, you've already it's coming out of your
It's
mouth.
weird because like live raps in a show are different to ones done in a studio environment because the adrenaline that you get from a live audience fuels the rap, which means that it gets that blackout energy, whereas here obviously there's less adrenaline because there's not a live audience like in the room. Obviously
Sure,
people
yeah,
are like
yeah.
watching, but that live audience changes the approach and also changes the risk because I know that people are watching or listening but they're not here. So in my head I'm like, well, if this goes badly, just you two know about it. Whereas if it goes badly in, 1,000-seat theater, and it goes badly.
Yes.
So,
Couple of things here that people like are the fact that you ended the rap and went right back to the rap stacks. They love that. They
These are
also
great.
think that because you're British and you're eating the rap stacks and you rap so perfectly that it's a little disrespectful. I like that. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but they
Wait,
feel like it feels disrespectful because he's British. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, but I like it. I mean, I like it. Yeah,
So-
it's like disruptive.
It's like, remember when Dave Chappelle did that joke about like him writing the punch, like to make it hard on himself, he has the punchline to the joke and he writes it
like
backwards.
backwards engineers
He
it,
backward
yeah.
engineers it. So, of course that's part of a stand-up, but I really believe that probably his brain does work like that. Like he has the punchline and he figures out how to get there.
You have formulas
'Cause-
on how on ways that you like to write stuff.
Because sometimes I've felt that in my head before, like, this is a funny punchline. How do you get there?
Right,
and then you just
right.
fill everything else. So is your brain, because I'm sure you've analyzed it, kind of doing that where, like, okay, I want to get to this word.
it's a mix-up. It changes. I
Okay.
think it's not conscious thought most of the time. So, yeah. I don't really know how it works. But, yeah, I'm sure that's how it's meant to work. You're meant to be like, oh, I know I'm going to rhyme this, I'm going to do this. But I think that's more conscious, like when you're playing Rap Battles, the game, available in all good stores.
Yeah.
You're seeing the word you have to rhyme, so you then have that time to think. But then in a rap, you're going faster, so there's less time, so it just kind of naturally falls.
Do you have words that you know that you lean on too much and you go like, I'm going to have to ease up on that
sure I
one.
do. And I notice myself sometimes doing it. And when I do, I go, okay, let's scrap that word from the rap for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
If that's my challenge for me. So say if I know that like Asian words, as in Asian, not Asian words. I'm not coming back to the whaling boat bit.
Yeah.
If I'm saying Asian, I know that I will more likely rhyme something like situation, frustration, infatuation. Whereas really, you could also just rhyme shorter words. You could say Haitian. You could say Asian. Like, blazing. You could say all those words.
Patient.
So, so I'm more likely to... So I scrap it. I'm like, okay, if I'm doing those words, I'm shunning. I'll shun the words infatuation so I can then come up with something else. And then that kind of widens my scope.
That is interesting that you'll go in there and prune, I guess, is the word you'll be like, I don't like, I'm using too many of these longer Asian words, so like, let's clip those. Yeah. Let's go to shorter ones for just a couple of weeks and see if I can shake out this problem I'm having. That's interesting.
It'd be insanely interesting to me to hook your brain up to some like neuroscientists and see where the activity is.
Surprised somebody hasn't offered to do that for you.
A couple of people have asked about it, and I've been like, yeah, sure. And then they go, okay, come to my house. I'm like, no! I'm doing it in a research lab. In your house? Put this on your head. Those are just some sweaty underpants.
Exactly. You have this machine in your house?
You're going to be tied up. Yeah, it's going to be bad.
Chris, thanks so much for coming by. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Corporate Time. Welcome back to Corporate Time. Akeem Woods is on the show. How you doing, Akeem?
Hello.
Good to see you.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sad I can't be in studio, but I'm here.
It's fine. We just wanted a chance to talk to you. We're so proud of you. I see every time I turn on, I was going to say every time I turn on social media. Jesus Christ, that's how old I am. Every time I go and I look at social media, though, he's with big name celebrity comedian friends. He's at a party. He's trolloping. He's doing this. He's doing that.
Hold on, what's a trollop?
Do you want to tell Tom about your running segment?
Well, trollop tale. So basically, my friend Mia Jackson, who's very, very funny, she tours Amy Schumer. She writes on Life and Beth on Hulu. She's great. Anyway, she's older, and she'd give me these crazy insults, but they're like old school insults. So I remember one day I posted like a crazy sex story on Facebook, and then she messaged me and she's like, "You're such a trollop," and I was like, "Mia, I'm 28. At the time I was 28. I'm like, I don't know what that word means. And then I Googled it, and it means like it's a fancy way of saying a hoe.
Yeah, it's like another one that comes to mind, Akeem, is the word floozy.
It's in that same vein.
Yeah, floozy.
So then I just, because alliteration's funny, so I started doing these things called trollop tales, and where I would tell a crazy sex story on my Instagram.
And you know what I found out is that it's funny because if you look at the comments, you can see that everyone, and I mean everyone, loves a wild sex story.
Yeah. I'm on episode 32, so there's been a lot.
Yeah, and then like some of the ones that have been more famous have actually been like you're on like Angela Yee's like show, right?
Yeah, I did lip service with Angela Yee. I told one on there, and then I did Horrible Decisions. And I told one on there that went viral on Black Twitter.
Yeah, like, so how did you end up meeting, because I know a lot of people that are younger than me know exactly who Angela is. How do you become, like, pseudo, like, friends, and you're on one of the most popular broadcasters currently, in popular radio. Now, granted, it is an odd space to be, but how'd you meet Angela, one part of the Breakfast Club?
Yeah, I met her. So I obviously, you guys know I've been touring with Godfrey for like 6 or 7 years now.
Yeah.
And we were in DC at the DC Improv, and Angela and Godfrey have been friends for years. And I was on the show with them. I get off stage, and I go, after I sell my merchandise or whatever, I go in the green room, and Angela's just sitting in the green room with Godfrey because like they've been friends for a long time.
Yeah.
And as soon as I walked in, she was just, like, so sweet. She was so nice. She's like, oh, my God. She's like, you're so funny. I love your stories. We have to have you on our show. And I've met a lot of famous people who've told me things that are untrue. So I'm like, okay, girl, whatever. And we laughed and joked and just had a really good time. And then afterwards, one of her producers took down my information. It was like, hey, we're going to reach out to you. I'm like, okay, whatever. I didn't think anything of it because celebrities have been telling me stuff like this for years.
Yeah, it's a nicety. Like, oh, we'll have you on the show, but then they...
I mean, for the record, I'm not a celebrity, and I tell that to everyone I meet. I'm like, we'll have you in, we'll have you in.
Yeah, but we're serious because we just need the content because we're lazy.
I'm just trying to finish this thing up, man.
So, out of nowhere, like 2 weeks later, I get a call from her people, and they're like, hey, Angela wants to know if you're in town. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm in town. She said, come by and do the show. So I came by, I did the show, it went great, it was so fun. And then she has her new show, Way Up with Angela Yee, which is also syndicated. And she was like, hey, I'm starting this new show, do you want to co-host a few episodes? I'm like, okay.
Dude.
Didn't think anything of it. Fast forward to like a month later, she gave me her number. So fast forward to a month later, she texted me and she's like, hey, are you free on Thursday to come co-host? I'm like, okay. And I've been on that show at least 6 or 7 times. I was just texting her earlier today. I might be on there this week.
That makes me so, like, honestly, man, that makes me so freaking proud of you. Like, as a true radio, like, fan that I am, and, like, wanting to do radio as, like, a little kid and then actually doing it, to see you go from the guy that, basically, you weren't even out of the closet to now you're on, like, some of the biggest broadcasters are having you co-host. That's just super cool, man. It's a really, really
Thanks.
It's like, I mean, that is huge. And is it fun? Do you like the...
Oh, it's so much fun. We always have fun there. Because I don't really talk about topical stuff in my stand-up, really. Most of my stand-up is very, like, personal. I talk about my life. I don't really talk about what's going on.
Sure.
So it is fun to be able to have funny takes and talk about like things that are going on in the zeitgeist that I don't necessarily talk about on stage too often.
Yeah. And like current events, or like you could bring up, I'm sure maybe you talked about Kendrick and Drake. Like, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of things that are like going on currently that you can do. I mean, it's a different, I think I can hear Tom's, hamster wheel spinning. It is a different skill set for you as a hardworking comedian to sort of add to your bag, right? Like being able to...
it's fun. It's fun, and it comes naturally. And we honestly have really good chemistry, her and I.
Yeah.
So it's always really fun. I always have fun whenever I do her show, whenever I do her podcast. It's always like a lot of fun.
That's killer, man. I don't want to...
Doing radio is easy. Let's be honest.
Well, let's make sure to plug your show first, too. So you do have a show in town. You the first show is sold out, but you added a second show. Where's your show at?
So the second show, it's at Chronic Guru, which is in downtown Orlando.
Yeah.
The first show at 8 o'clock is on the 28th, which is next Tuesday, so a week from today. The first show is sold out. It's sold out in like 2 or 3 hours. The second show is selling slow because it's 10 p.m. on a Tuesday, but I just need y'all to just stay up. I swear it's worth it. I'm doing a whole hour. Just me, and I'm going to have some guest comics come in. I'm not going to say who, but I'm going to have some special guests come in. Tickets are only $15, and just go to my website, which is akeemwoods.com, AKEEM woods.com.
And it's like
and all of my tickets are available
and
there.
Weed. I feel like you're just saying and weed.
They're selling weed.
Yeah, and you don't need a medical card. You just go there and you buy this man's weed.
Hey,
there's weed everywhere.
How'd you get introduced to the guru? I need to meet this guy. I've been seeing him for a long time on my videos.
Now, I don't know if you know this, Akeem, but the gentleman from Chronic Guru, whose name is something like Jimmy, it's a very Irish name. It's like Jimmy.
Yeah, we'll just call him the guru.
Yeah, the guru. But he only advertises, and the reason that Tom and I knew of Chronic Guru is because he's the number one advertiser locally with Pornhub.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, yeah. He's the one who started it. We've
been trying to follow. We wanted to, we saw him doing it. And this is
well,
where
they need to advertise my show on Pornhub, because if you are a porn advocate, you are gonna love my style of comedy.
Well, that's actually, you know what? You bring up something. I don't know if they can turn and burn the commercial that quickly, but that's actually not a bad idea, because if he were putting like an ad for your comedy night at Chronic Guru on Pornhub, I think it would work.
Yeah, how many people are we watching that?
I would watch. I'd be like, Akeem Woods is going to be Chronic Guru. As soon as I'm done masturbating, I'm going to go buy tickets.
If you think about it, it's probably the number one site looked at in frequency rates
of everybody, of the world.
Like every single male listener, and I'll say male, a lot of female, but mostly male, are going to watch Pornhub sometime today.
The chat room is asking how come Akeem didn't know about it. I'll tell you why. Because Pornhub's ads are geo-fenced, and so whatever you're getting in California is certainly not going to be Chronic Guru because I believe
New York.
I'm in New York.
Or New York, sorry, in New York because you know,
it's a waste of ad space.
Up the road, East Coast in New York, they got their own weed and whatever. Chronic Guru is just a Central Florida guy.
Yeah. So your IP address is going to dictate what ads you're getting.
But it would have worked. I mean, like, that's actually not a bad idea at all. And we have been wanting to interview the guy because it looks really fun. Yeah. Supposedly, you can get, like, marijuana drinks. Like tonics?
Yeah. Well, you guys know I don't drink or smoke or anything. I got connected by the show. My buddy Jari, very funny comedian. I've known him forever.
Yeah.
I reached out to him because originally I was supposed to be doing a Pride show in Pensacola the week, like this coming weekend.
Gotcha.
And so I was like, okay, I'll be in Pensacola. I could just I'll fly. I'll do a quick flight to Orlando, do a one-nighter, and then go to Chicago because I'm in Chicago next week with Ida Rodriguez.
Oh, right on.
And so it was just supposed to be a one-nighter, but then so I hit up Jari. He set it up. So my show in Pensacola got canceled, but they still paid me. And now I'm in Portland with Godfrey, but I'm going to just do the weekend with Portland and then fly from Portland to Orlando, do the 2 shows, and then the next morning fly to Chicago.
Ooh, do you like the road? Do you like burning it like that? Like, that's hard, man.
I'm used to it. I've been on the road for like almost 7 years now. So I quit my job about 7 years ago. So I'm really used to it. I'm like, it is draining, but like I've had crazier schedules, so this is not really a big deal.
Again,
it's only 2 weeks.
Like everything. I mean, we were just talking to Chris Turner. He was joking around about in New York. They went up to a bounce house, and the guy's like $20 for a person per kid to get into this bounce house. And we've been joking around about how expensive things are here in Orlando, and in Florida. I can't even
imagine in New York.
In New York, it's crazy, and like the expense of everything has drastically gone up. But have they started paying comedians more? Have you seen that? Like, because you'd have to be able to even make a living as a comedian, right?
They don't. The comedy pay has been the same for feature comedians. Like, if you're opening for somebody, the comedy pay has been the same since, I want to say, the 80s.
Oh, my God.
You just blew my shoes off.
In the 80s?
I'm not even joking.
I will tell you something really sad.
How do you do it?
We make all of our money. The way I make money is from merchandise, like from T-shirts, like when people buy T-shirts on my website, which you can buy at KeemWoods.com.
Do it.
And when I open for people like Godfrey and Ida and Yamanika and Sam J, I make money from selling T-shirts. So most of my income is from merchandise. And then obviously I'm doing a bunch of Pride gigs and some corporate gigs. And then I've done some TV stuff and blah, 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 blah. And that's where I can make money. And then now I'm starting to make more money because I can sell tickets. Like in certain cities, I can sell tickets, or I'll do a door deal. So I can make money from that, from ticket sales. But as far as like comedy club pay, like if you're not selling tickets and you're just making money to like open for people, or the standard comedy club pay is terrible. It's never been good.
Yeah, like I heard, and I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm not a stand-up comedian. We're just podcasters and radio guys. But I heard a story 2 days ago. I was watching a podcast, and they were talking about a really big-name, very popular comedian right now who brought on openers, and he's rich. Let's just say he's top-tier millionaire.
Okay.
Theo Von. Theo Von. And he was paying his openers $100.
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, well, I mean,
he said it was Vaughn.
Yeah. People were saying it was Theo Von, but they were saying. Well, and I'm like $100. I was like, even we've paid.
But is that his fault, or is that the industry standard?
Correct.
He's just paying the standard?
No, that's his fault. He's a terrible person.
Oh, come on.
I'm not saying Theo Von's a terrible person because I don't know him personally, and I don't think that's true about him. I know people who open for him and get paid well, but I'm saying if you are a comic and you're selling out a stadium and you're bringing your own opener and you're giving them $100, you're a trash person.
Yeah, you should up it a little bit.
Yeah.
Now they just assumed that it was him. I'm not saying it's him.
If the opener is someone that you don't know and it's someone that the club provided, then that's not your responsibility. But if it's someone that you physically brought with you and you gave them $100, then yeah, you're kind of a terrible person.
Well, what is the like? Is there an industry standard where it's like, okay, if you're, let's say, doing a room that's like Hard Rock Live, right?
That's a big room,
3,000, like, or even, I mean, let's say the Funny Bone, right? Or like that a standard.
What is that, 500?
And you bring your own opener,
375.
Would you pay them a percentage of the ticket sales? How does that work?
What I would do if I was in that situation is I know what features make. So if you're doing 6 shows, you're making $600. You're doing $100 a show. And so if you're a headliner and you sold out all 6 of those shows and you brought your own feature, at the very least, I would give them $1,000 for that weekend. So on top of the $600. So then they're going home with $1,600 and then whatever they make with merchandise.
Okay.
So then you're able to you can typically make $3,000 for that weekend because you're making all the merch money, $1,000 on top of it. That's what I would do. And a lot of comics do that. Like Tom Segura, I've heard Tom Segura pays really well. I've heard Nicole Byer pays really well. Like there's a lot of comics who do that. But I think that's what you should do because you already know that the feature pay hasn't went up literally since the 80s. The feature pay has been $100 a show since the 80s.
That's crazy to me. I remember when just around here, you guys would tell me, like, you'd go up there and you'd do, 15, 20 minutes or something. I'd be like, how much you get for that? Free or you got, $5? $10?
Yeah,
$10.
Yeah.
Ross used to be like, I drove to Tampa for $10. I'm like, $10? I'm like, it's almost insulting that they handed it to you.
You gotta love it.
It's better to be free, and then you did it for the love of the game, than they even give you $10.
Have you been turning down any more celebrity parties or orgies or anything crazy lately? Because you're out there, you're around the people. So have you seen anything weird lately?
No, I've been to some celebrity parties, but nothing crazy. Like, I don't get invited. Like, I'm not much of a partier. Like, I could probably go to some of these parties, but I'm not much of a partier. Like, SNL has, their party after every show in New York. And I'm friends with some of the cast members, so if I wanted to, I probably could hit them up and yo, can I? But I'm just we're not super tight friends, and honestly that's not my vibe. Yeah. So if I wanted to go, I probably could, but I'm not really. That's not my.
He's a workout guy. He's been working out more. He's going for abs. He's trying to get his abs going.
Depending.
Yeah. You're serious about that, right? Like, I feel like since you've gotten
you need to get on the tee. I got a guy.
Yeah. We need to get you on testosterone and beef you up.
No, I'm not going to take drugs, but thank you.
It's not drugs. It's natural. It's in your body. It can make you super horny.
It's like a fancier Red Bull.
I'm a gay man. I'm already horny all the time.
That's true.
Oh, you can always be hornier. That's what my pop-up used to say.
I'm so jealous of Akeem and how he can live his life as a gay man. I look at how horny he is, and I check the boxes, but the freedom he gets to have sex in U-Hauls and wild encounters where there's multiple people. It just looks like fun, man.
It is pretty fun. I had a threesome on Monday.
See? A threesome on Monday? A Monday threesome? Yeah. What was I doing? Dropping my daughter off at dance?
Man.
Yeah. Waiting in the car.
Not last Monday.
Okay, last Monday.
So, Akeem, I'm curious, just how you're doing a show at Chronic Guru, which is not. Yeah, that's the first time I've ever heard that they are hosting a show, right? Yeah. And I've seen that a lot in Orlando, where there are a lot of places that are turning into event venues for they're using the space for a bunch of different things because the internet makes it available to do that, and you can market it. I imagine New York is doing a ton of that, right? It's got to be because they're
in New York,
yeah.
Yeah. In New York, there's comedy everywhere. New York, there's independent shows. There's a bunch of independent shows in New York. There's also a lot of comedy clubs. New York comedy, they pay better because you're getting paid per spot, and you're only doing 10 to 15 minutes on a spot. So on a weekend, most clubs pay $100 a spot, and you can do 10 spots in a weekend. So that's $1,000.
Yeah,
so New York on weekend isn't bad.
Yeah, and you're also, especially if you're up and coming, if you're like cutting your teeth, I would imagine, to be able to practice and also get a little bit of something makes it a lot more worthwhile in the beginning.
Does it flood the market with stand-up comedians where, like, when there was
tons of...
When there was less venues, similar with podcasts or anything, when there's less of something, you have to be higher quality.
The market is flooded with comedians because of the comedy boom. And everyone is trying to do comedy because it's lucrative. Because if you have a following, it can be lucrative.
Yeah.
So a lot of like social media people who are usually terrible at stand-up are trying to do it because they want to make quick, easy money, and they can sell tickets to it. So there's like kind of a boom right now where everyone's just like interested in comedy. Because if you think about all the shows that are being on, like Marvel's Miss Maisel and Crashing, and like all the shows that are about stand-up, like stand-up is having like a really big boom, which I think will probably be for another 3 or 4 years, and then people like realize that they're not good at it, and they'll get back to doing something else.
Yeah. I mean, we're kind of already...
Podcasting is having the same boom. Everyone has a podcast now.
Yeah, but I'm actually seeing them die. I'm starting to see them die. There's a lot of them dying, including ours.
But Akeem, the thing about the podcast is when you're a stand-up comedian, eventually no one will come to your show if you're horrible, and then with podcasts, people can do podcasts and no one's listening, but that doesn't stop anybody.
No.
Like when you're a stand-up and no one shows up, like it'll eventually...
That's the majority. The majority of podcasts have no listeners. That's true.
But they'll continue to do that. Like you need a visual representation of your audience to show you're horrible for you to stop doing it.
Not even that, though. People have visual you can get analytics to tell you that your podcast is terrible.
Yeah, we have that.
But people just don't... People just don't look at them.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean the same thing. When you're up on stage and there's nobody in the crowd at all, it means more than if you download, like you do a podcast and you're like, oh, only 10 people downloaded, but you're like, well...
You're like, kind of like 10, yes!
Or you're like, eventually someone will hear, you rationalize it.
It's a stone. Someone will find it.
Anyway, Akeem, where can people get your tickets to the 10 o'clock Chronic Guru show?
Is the easiest at AkeemWoods.com?
Yeah, the easiest is AkeemWoods.com, www.akeemwoods.com. You can buy all my tickets there. Bachelor B, it is on the 28th, which is next Tuesday. 8 p.m. show is completely sold out, so you have to get tickets to the 10 p.m. I promise the 10 p.m. show is going to be great. We're gonna have special guests and whatever famous person's in town. I'm going to see if they can stop by.
I love it.
So make sure you come to the show.
Well, thank you so much.
And there's like weed drinks and stuff, so you can drink and all that jazz.
Yeah. I have never had a weed drink.
You should buy weed. They're selling it.
Yeah.
I like the Guru.
You can leave the show with a pocket full of weed, and it's fine.
If you see the Guru, tell him that I want to talk to him, talk some business.
Just come to the show and you can tell him yourself.
He doesn't do anything.
No, I need to guarantee that the Guru is going to be there.
All he does now is run, swim, bike, and then sit with his sons. That's all he does now.
Wait, do you have abs now?
Yeah, he does. He does.
No,
he does.
I don't have.
They're close. They're close.
It's like a dad flabby abs,
but it's good. It's flabs.
It's daddy flabby abs,
which is also his rap name.
Yeah. And when you lose a weight, I notice that my old man skin really shows. I need to. You need to keep the weight. I have
to tuck my belly into my socks. Why
don't you get the skin tightening surgery or whatever?
It's too much money. You have a guy? I'll do it if it's cheap. No, I don't
have a guy. You start a GoFundMe.
No, that's embarrassing.
Akeem, we love you, man. Thanks so much for hitting us up, and good luck with the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
See ya. That is Akeem Woods, live from New York City.
All right, we will see.
We got some time.
Oh,
we have some time. I thought you were trying to bail, and I believe we have a solid 6 minutes.
Okay,
so
perfect.
Let's do some. You want to do a couple of voicemails?
I was thinking about pitching to Akeem a buddy comedy. Where it is a reality show.
Okay, pitch it to me.
Okay, I'll pitch it to you.
Yeah.
So, he takes me to places in New York that are outside of my comfort zone.
Okay.
And then, then he'll come down to Florida. Then I'll take him out on, the St. Johns River.
He does
out
a character.
To the swamp.
No, this would be perfect. He does a character, and we didn't even talk about this. But on Tuesday, today's Tuesday. Damn it. He does a character on Straight Tuesdays named Malcolm.
Okay.
And he's like, what's up? I'm Malcolm. I'm horny for girls.
Okay, he's horny Malcolm.
Yeah, horny Malcolm. And he's only horny for girls. And he always has like girls kissing him. He wears a do-rag.
Okay.
It's awesome.
I like
great.
that.
It's so great.
Malcolm, bro. We're going to be friends. But anyway, and then, I take him out, and then I'll take him like tubing and all the, the stuff that he's not comfortable doing. And then he takes me to a
I gotta
club.
tell you, man, I would actually watch A Mediocre Time with Tom and Malcolm. I would definitely watch that. Would you like a couple of voicemails on your way out of here, buddy?
Yeah.
Let's go with this one about you really opened up the bag of anger when you were talking about your intense dislike of theme parks.
Oh God!
And we had a lot of phone calls.
To each their own. I'm just saying it's not for me. For you, fine. I don't care what anybody does. I don't care what you like.
Hey there, Tom and Dan. Hey guys, it's Kenny. We're talking about Tom not understanding fun that even kids or adults are having at theme parks. I think the problem is he sees the commercials, and in the commercials the kids are losing their minds, the parents are hugging everyone, they're having so much fun. But that's just a commercial, Tom. That's not how people actually have fun at things. So when he goes to Universal and people aren't automatically eyes wide, mouth agape in awe and wonder, then he's like, oh, clearly no one's having fun. Tom, your level of expectation of what fun is way too high. People can just enjoy, have a brief smile.
I'll cut him off for a second. I think both you and I think because of this job, what we do, our imaginations, the way we talk to each other, we have a weird and very messed up view of what things are supposed to be like. Seriously, neither of us are right.
Well, if it's on the commercial and I'm watching people and they're pumping their fist and having the time of their life, and then I show up and they're grueling
first of all, none of them look the same. None of them look the same.
And then they're just walking
they're lumbering. They all have big diabetic socks on.
They're sweating. It's they're being scorched by the sun.
So many wheelchairs.
And then
so many porta-scoots.
They're just opening their wallet, pulling their pants inside out. They're like, I've spent all my money, scorched.
They're yelling at their kids.
They're standing on the in a line.
Stop that.
Yeah. And then
stop that.
It doesn't look like they're having fun. It's such
in the chat room checking in so many knee braces.
And, they're all miserable.
Yeah, it's just miserable. It's a bunch of hot knee braces.
Yeah, at least put some plants in there, pretending to have fun.
Put some shade. How about some shade? Here's an idea. Why don't you put a goddamn sheet over the whole spot?
Well, I mean, plant people, plant some actors, and then pretending to have as much fun in the commercials.
Trees. Put some trees out there. I'm sweating my bowl. I'm dying.
Yeah. You know how in China, if some dictator dies,
I don't do anything like that. I'm an American. I'm a true blood patriot. You're gonna bring up some Chinese garbage? I don't want that.
They hire.
I do only what John Wayne does. What would John Wayne do?
They hire town criers to go and they'll cry in front of Kim Jong Un's.
Fake mourners.
Yeah, fake mourners.
We have those too. Don't get me spinning on my conspiracy theories.
So why doesn't the theme parks hire fake having funners?
Oh, fun people.
Yeah, and then just to be because they'll be like, whoa, this guy.
I hate.
It'll bring up everybody's time.
You know for a fact I hate almost all of your ideas, but I actually like this. I actually like this one.
Yeah.
I'm okay with this one because it would make my day. It would make my time there better.
Yeah, a family, they're like, yo, look what I do. They're screaming, having fun, just have them wander around. They're working shifts. You have a bunch of people in costumes.
Are they going to expect to be tipped when they're done? Or are they going to stand around?
No. You think they're real tourists. Will
they ever break character?
No. Just like Cinderella. They, no matter what you say to her.
I think she would, though. I think if I tackled her, she'd be like, what the F? Or something, right?
Well, there's a handler around. They'll tase you good.
I got a spicy Snow White one time, and I don't think I was supposed to have her.
No, really?
Andrea and I, years ago, Andrea and I were we did that. Some friends and I were talking about this on Facebook a couple of days ago. We were talking about, and it stemmed from your conversation of theme parks, and most BDMs sort of agreed with me, and I agree with them too, that it does seem that before the pandemic, that going to the parks was it was fine. You could go out there, ride a couple rides, and eat something, and get home, and it not be like an
insane,
a disgusting,
crowded.
But now it's just a different. And I've only been a couple times post pandemic, but to me it is different. And I'm not dumb old manning it because multiple people have said they feel the same way. It's not the same.
It could, yeah. Who knows? I don't know.
It feels like it does feel more. It feels like what the pandemic did is lit the fuse to everybody. Go like, we have to go here as many times as humanly possible before we die.
Yeah,
and now everybody's in there like charging it every day because they're just like, I'm afraid it'll be taken away again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that could have. I mean, that could be the
it's
case.
Not for, I don't think it's for me anymore because like even going to Typhoon Lagoon, that was hard. I had to like really suck it up for that.
Yeah. But you said it rained and it cleared out the crowds.
The rain does clear out the crowds, but I think I only got lucky because it was a water park.
All right, we will see you tomorrow. Welcome to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan.
Still time to get your tickets to ACT Live. That's May 31st, Friday. We've got stand-up at 6, and then we go on live at 7 o'clock. It will be broadcast on Real Radio and Twitch.
Now, I did just get an email from Ryan Holmes, very concerned about the compression ratios, and once we talk over each other, how it knocks it off the towers and everything. It's going to be very complicated. Very complicated, yeah. I haven't read all of it yet.
Just plug it in.
No, it's like something that he's talking about. Like, all I read.
Compression ratio.
Like when you get a Facebook Messenger message, it'll just give you like a one line from the beginning, and then and then it'll give you the last line of the end, and then the last line of the end, it was from Ryan Holmes, and then it just said like ... I am very concerned. That's what it said.
Now, here's some behind the scenes. So we got to pay iHeart for this. Okay. But when they send the bill, I'm not going to pay.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And then I'm going to be like, I'm not. And then I'm just
going to the collections.
And then what am I going to do? Like,
just do it like a senator when they subpoena. You're just like, I'm not going.
Because the trick, I used to work there, and then I used to ask the salespeople, I'm like, what happens if these clients don't pay? They're like, well, we'll threaten them. And then I'm like, will you do anything? Like, no,
we just threaten them.
Yeah, it's too expensive to actually do anything.
We know the jig is up.
Yeah. So I know when you threaten me, I know nothing will come after.
I wonder what the threat is.
Like that we'll
tell everyone that you're a POS. And I'm like, they already know.
I think it's like we'll get legal involved.
Legal? We got legal.
No, but it costs so much money. To even pick up the phone is $500. They're not going to get no one involved.
But yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Gagman is here.
Also, Tom and Dan Cruise, 2024.com. You just have till the end of May to book your cruise if you want to go. It's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, it should be a great time. Let's dig into some voicemails. This one involving stealing. This is a stealing voicemail.
Tom keeps talking about who would break in to steal TVs or who would break into your studio to steal some cheap laptops, but he keeps failing to factor in that it's free. If you crawl through a window and take somebody's cheap TV and cheap laptop and you sell those for, $20, $30 each, that's a couple sacks of weed that you didn't have to pay for. It was free. It was 10 minutes. People will steal cheap because it's free.
Well, but Tom also...
The risk versus reward.
Let me just tell you, sir. Tom is going to say what he's going to say, and he's going to stick to it, okay? I'm sorry.
No.
That's the way it's going to go, man.
Well, if someone... Yes, I understand. Okay, it's free, so whatever they sell for, it's more than they had before. I understand. But you also understand that they have some comprehension of the risk. Breaking and entering is a big charge.
It is, but this guy's saying that they probably are maybe not that intelligent, and maybe their risk and reward meter isn't the same as yours. So maybe they'd be more likely to, let's say, steal all of the TVs from Johnny's other side, which has happened 40 times.
Yeah.
40 times.
I understand you're tweaking out, and you just need some Roxy's, and you just got to get $30, and But what I'm saying is, in general, I would believe that people would pick a breaking and entering spot that's going to yield the biggest result if they're going to risk that crime, right? So you're going to break into here for a TV that you could, at the pawn shop sell for $25? Or if you're going to break into somewhere, at least break into a place that could yield hundreds of dollars and something.
I think
they didn't do the math.
I agree with I see what you're saying, but I have to disagree with you because I don't think your average tweaker knows that a TV is only worth $25. I think they still
they know the worth.
I think they're still looped into well, it's easy, I can get what's easy.
But also, you run the risk. Now you're carrying around a 40-inch TV down the street or whatever. Most likely you don't have a car. And then now there's a bunch of Ring doorbells videotaping you. It's so much heat.
Okay, the Ring doorbell, don't even bring that up because that's a nothing. Rings don't do anything.
Dude, cops will go and...
they'll look at it and they'll be like, there's nothing we can do. How many times have you had a friend that says, they came over, they looked at the Ring doorbell, they can't do anything? More than they can do things.
Well, they do hold the evidence for
I can hold my balls and it does nothing.
Our video was used when they broke into my car in a court case against the kids that broke into the car. I said kids. They were 19 or 20. The police officer
So you never gave that update.
No, the police officer, we sent them, the guy, when he came, he's like, can I have the surveillance camera footage? So we sent it to him.
We're going to trump up some charges for a case we got going.
They didn't catch him yet, but when they finally did catch them, the guy told us, he sent an email to Crystal saying,
wait a minute,
video
off
footage.
Duty? He's like, hi, I'm a cop and off duty. I want to let you know, thank you for your service.
Something like that.
No, that's a lie. That never happened.
No, I'm telling you,
I have to see the email. So a cop took it out of his day to send you an email saying, thank you for your service for sending that video. We got him. We nabbed him.
Something like that happened. I'll call Crystal.
If we don't have the details, it never happened.
I'm calling Crystal.
Then why didn't we talk about that on the show?
We did talk about that.
We did talk about the video being used in a court case against the kids.
Yeah.
I never heard that.
And then Crystal was like, it's not that bad. Or they're like, we're prosecuting them.
I don't think we ever talked about this, dude. I don't ever
when
remember.
When they stole my wallet.
I remember them breaking in, but I don't ever remember them using the footage. I think that's a new thing.
We're going to talk to you on the show. Hold on.
Oh, wow. You're doing it like I do it Andrew style. You're doing it Andrea style. That's a good way to get yourself in trouble, buddy. Let's try this one. Hello, Crystal.
Hey, remember when we had that footage of the guy breaking into my truck?
Yeah, the chat room says they never got an update. We've never talked about this.
What?
The footage of
it wasn't your truck. I don't think was the was it the truck or was it the WRX?
I think it was my truck when they stole the wallet.
It was the truck.
Whatever. That's not the question. So didn't the detective, you sent the footage to the detective and he told you that he used it in the court case, right, or something?
Yeah, but that wasn't. So there were 2 times that you left your car open and somebody got into it.
This is backfiring.
The time that you're talking about with the detective and the footage was when a kid broke into your WRX. He didn't get anything because our neighbor started yelling at him and saying, "Who are you? What are you doing there?" And that kid ended up arrested because they had broken into a bunch of cars that whole weekend or whatever. And a lot of different people had footage, but nobody had the license plate. But somebody got the license plate, and they used our footage in the court case.
Oh, okay. All right. So you were right.
But then
so many break-ins.
And the cop told you, we're going to use your footage in the court case, right?
I mean, I don't remember if he told me or did it come in a letter.
That doesn't count.
I don't know.
That doesn't count. She said, I don't remember.
A letter.
Case closed.
Well, what's the question? What's the question?
Daniel thought I was lying. I'm just telling you that I remember this happening.
Crystal, I did not say he was lying. I said you've never told us this, and you never gave us an update on the detective taking time out of his day to write you and say, "Dearest Crystal Van, thank you so much for your Ring video footage. With this video footage, we were able to put these scumbags behind bars. Thank you, Detective Thomas."
I will.
Well, no, but so they did ask me to submit my footage to the case, which I did, and I did get updates by paper, by mail, certified mail, constantly about this case, about the kid who, what's going to happen to him. I had to vote whether, what is it called?
Send him up the river.
I can't remember. Not to prosecute him or not.
Adjudication?
Deferred something or other.
Oh yeah. That's where they're
we'll give you a second chance.
Yeah. You get to pick up trash off 50.
Turn your life around. Get your teeth bleached.
Yeah, something like that. I had to vote on that, and you know what's interesting, and it's not why you called, but nobody there were like 10 break-ins. Nobody wanted to press charges against the kid.
Oh, that kid's got some power.
Except my wife.
I
got him good.
Send him up the river. I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you followed through. Ruin his life. Send him up the river.
I was like, oh, no. Everybody else let him free.
Get that scumbag off the street.
No, he's just making a mistake. He just wants some rocks.
No, you want to steal my wallet?
No, he's he's freaking out. Like he's getting sick.
Here's what I say. He
needs some medicine.
You put one of my family in the hospital, I put you in the effing morgue.
Hey, just trying to not do diarrhea his pants because he's freaking out.
How are you going to clean up Castleberry if you don't put these scumbags behind bars?
Listen, I'm sorry. There were others who did press charges. It wasn't just me. But the cops said it's hard to get people to press charges these days. They just want to go about their business and not bother with all this.
That's you. That's the top. That's the top. It's fine.
Our cars had been broken into so many times. I don't know if it's the same people or not, but the kid had hit like 10 other cars, and some people had really valuable things stolen out of their cars. Like, I'm sorry. Don't do that. You're breaking into my car. The cop banged on my door at 4 o'clock in the morning and woke me up. You have to pay for that.
Yep.
You should not have done that.
I'm gonna do something that I don't want to do, but it will change your life direction, and you need a life direction change.
Yeah. People do need life direction change. And if you just get off all the time and somebody bails you out all the time, then you're never, the next time it's easier because, I didn't have to suffer any consequences.
Next thing you wind up in drug court feeding me a bunch of BS.
I have spent my entire life being bailed out. My mom has done it. My wife.
You were almost named Billy Bailout. That was almost your middle name Bailout.
And look how good I've turned out. I've built my way up in society. I've got a boat. I've got a house.
He's got footage. He's putting teens behind bars with footage from his Ring doorbell.
And it's all because I've been bailed out. I'm not afraid to take chances because I'm like, someone will bail me out.
You're a risk taker.
So no matter what, even with this podcast, I was like, if it doesn't, if something goes wrong, Daniel will bail me out. If I just start a business, if it goes wrong, he'll bail me out. His mom will loan us some money.
I'll take his dead mom's money.
Listen, rules are in place for a reason. They are to be followed.
I agree.
No, the spirit of the rule.
Willy-nilly, and there's no rules, then their driving becomes a problem. It's too noisy outside. People are stealing from each other.
Are we describing your street? It's not that bad, guys. It's not that bad.
No, the spirit of the rules need to be followed. The exact letter of the law.
And
loose.
So nothing? Have you been? Where are we at with you locking your car? By the way, we'll end it with this because I don't want to waste Crystal's time.
Can I? No, let me tell him. Please let me tell him.
You can tell anything you want. It's your show. You own half of the show, Crystal. I don't know if you know that, but you're on the documents.
No, a quarter of the show.
She's on the documents.
I want to answer this question, Daniel.
Please.
Every day, TC goes to the car in the morning to open the door, and it's locked. And then he goes, God damn it, and then he comes walking back into the house to get the keys to unlock the door. Because at night, I go around and I lock the doors before I go to sleep. I lock all the doors in the house. I check the cars are locked. I make sure the garage doors
I do too, Crystal. I do too.
But meanwhile, TC's in bed. He could care less if the door is wide open.
He's waiting there for you to come back and sit on him. He's waiting there. He's got he's waiting. He's got his hand braces off. He's waiting there. He's waiting for his sexy wife to come back.
Yeah, well, and then every single day, no matter how many days in a row this happens for a year now, or however many days it's been since the last car break-in, he still does not remember that the door is locked. So he goes out to the car with no keys, tries to open it, and curses my name every single morning.
This has been 365 times.
Oh, how do you know I curse your name?
Because she's standing by the door.
I say it in my head, though.
Well, she's in your head, buddy. Lawnmower man. She's in your head.
Will you give me a break now that you've seen your son that you love so much have the same disease, I'll call it, or disability? It really is a disability.
But you guys are leaning into it. Now that you have each other, I feel like you guys are leaning into it, which is not fair.
What do you mean?
No, I feel like Tom and Tommy, now that they have each other, and they're like, oh, look at us. Yeah. We're going to lean in. Oh, we can't do anything because we're just this way.
Yeah. No, there's nothing can be done.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like, they do that. Yesterday.
Are you going to yell at a blind person? Just see, goddammit.
Crystal, I was helping him last night. We're not going to talk about it because he asked me repeatedly not to talk about it.
I know all about it.
So I'm using Google Chrome and I look, and there are 90 tabs open. And he's like, he looks at me and he goes, "No, I'm sorry, there's nothing can be done." You could close your tabs. You could close. You
how do I get back to him fast?
You have to remember to go to the website.
No,
again.
I have to go www dot the whole thing.
Dooba dot.
And then I can go to each one.
Over and over.
Yeah, so I think now...
Don't they have the computing power to have as many as I want?
So now, Crystal, I believe this. I feel like now I look at him, I go, like, why don't you just close... I even said it. I laughed. I sat back in my chair. I go, just close your tabs, man. And he's like, I can't do it. You've seen Tommy. You've seen Tommy. You've seen me. You've seen Tommy. That is definitive proof that nothing can be done. And I'm supposed to take that and be like, oh, okay, well, sorry, nothing can be done.
He's using my poor son as a crutch now. Like, oh, well, you've seen Tommy, so that means
yeah, it's proof.
I just said
I created another one.
And then Crystal tried to teach Tommy. She's like, "Don't end up like your father."
You need to learn to control your powers.
And then I sit back and laugh. I'm like, "There's no way to teach out of this. Like, he cannot ever change." I said, "There's no way to change." 100%.
There is a way to change if you're willing.
No,
you gotta try.
No. That's what the old saying is.
It's like Yoda.
No, that's what they said about the gays. And guess what? There's no way to
try
change.
not to be gay?
Yeah, that's what they said. Society said. They're like, oh, there's a way to change it. You were born this way.
My dad used to say that all the time. He's like, try not to be gay this time.
You keep getting bailed out, and that's why you're unwilling to change.
That's true. I closed all his tabs. I closed all 90 of those tabs.
That's what we need to do, Daniel. You and me, we need to gather some consequences.
Oh, well, he'll be bad here. He'll be bad here because he'll just be like, my computer shut down. What are you going to do about it? And I'll try to...
You know what, Daniel? You and I are the ones who have to pay.
Yeah.
You'll pay. You'll pay.
You should see me. He'll be laying on the couch with his arm brace on and everything, and I'm supposed to come in there and give him sex. Same thing. It's the same thing. All right. Thank you for letting us interrupt your day, Crystal.
Did you fill the scuba tanks yet?
Are you guys going scuba diving?
No. I just want me and my sons to scuba dive in our pool, and I got to get all the scuba tanks.
So, let me guess. It's going to be you and Tommy laying on the bottom of the pool?
Well, Max will be there too, but I need to get the BCs and all the regulators checked because they're all leaky. They're sitting there in our dry rod.
Am I supposed to be doing this? You texted me a couple times. This is what you texted me.
That's a Daniel text if I've ever seen one. Fill the scuba tanks? That's a Daniel Dennis text.
He never told me to fill. He said, I want to get the scuba tanks filled and serviced. And he said that a couple times.
That's a way of saying, that's a Daniel Dennis text. That's me saying, Andrew will fill the scuba tanks and get him serviced, please. I'm telling you what I want. Please do it. I'm rubbing off on him a little bit.
Yeah, I've been saying what I want to be done, and I'm throwing it out there.
Yeah. And you should decide to do it if you love me.
Yeah. That should give you a hint of like, oh, you know what I should do?
This is actually one of the first things you've done that I like.
You get the scuba tanks filled and get the, all the O-rings.
And you should like that, Chris, because he's being forceful with you. He's saying, fill the damn scuba tank.
And here's what will happen if you don't do it.
Forceful.
Then me and my sons will be at the bottom of the pool with old air and the O-rings all dry rotted, and you're putting your family's life in danger.
Why don't you try and be forceful with her right now? Use it as why don't you tell her? Get those goddamn scuba tanks filled.
That's not, I mean.
Why don't you tell her? You tell her, say, look, you go get those scuba tanks filled, and when I get home, I'll pump you good. It didn't work.
Yeah.
That doesn't work. I'm kind of gross. I know your wife finds me gross.
No.
She wrote it on a piece of paper one time and slid it over to me. It just said, "You're gross."
No. She finds me the whole, it's
Why are you laughing like Rodney Dangerfield?
All right. Well. BartTheRealtor.com if you're looking to buy or sell a house.
Yeah. We basically gave you the best.
Charles Ruttenberg Realty.
Yes, Charles Ruttenberg Realty.
The Bart Merrick team at Charles Ruttenberg Realty.
There you go.
What's Mr. Ruttenberg doing?
He's filling the scuba tanks.
Part of the rules. You gotta say the whole thing.
It's the Ruttenberg rules. Yeah, the Ruttenberg rules.
Didn't the rules change? I see it on the internet. Yeah. There's like, if you're a realtor.
You can sell your house.
Listen, I've had about enough of this.
Oh, my God. Okay, bye-bye.
All right.
Hung up on her. I don't want to get you into trouble.
That's all right. See? That's what happens.
Yeah, that is... So you're going to take the boys scuba diving?
Well, Tommy...
They've done it before, right?
Yeah, in the pool with Maisie.
Oh, they did it with us. Yeah.
And but the so Tommy's 10 now, so you could be certified at 10.
Oh, I thought it was 12.
No, that's
nice.
That's what the companies want you to believe. But 10 is actually the legal age.
The Groupon.
Yeah, because most trainers will want to wait till the kids get 12 or whatever. They don't want to mess with a 10-year-old. Anyway,
I can understand that.
But I'll do it myself in my pool.
Yeah.
And then next year when Max turns 10, then we can go on adventures, and that's what I'm.
I like it.
But we got to start with. I got to get all my. The BC and the regulator.
Now, again, I know this is a weird question.
No.
But is this something that they want to do?
The boys?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good thing about indoctrination is that they don't have any, you do it before they have a choice of they know they can do it.
You say to me, though, sometimes you're like, they just don't have anything that they want to do. And I'm like, well, maybe if why don't you try doing what they want to do?
I'm mad as hell.
And I'm not going to take it anymore. Who used to say that? Who was the guy that said, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore?
Some wrestler? I don't know.
No, I don't know. I thought it was like a commercial or something.
No.
Hey, welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
I'm Tom. There's still a couple tickets left to our 10-year anniversary show.
Yeah. Can't seem to sell those, so if you guys want to buy those.
Yeah,
we can't see.
You know what? I don't even care if you go.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, don't show up.
I won't even notice if the last row is empty.
Yeah. How many tickets are there? How many are there?
I don't even
10?
know.
I'll buy them. I'll buy them.
Don't even buy. I don't know. I don't even care.
Just give them away. Can we just give them away?
Yeah. They don't want to go. They're only $10, so it's not the money.
Hey, on the line with us right now and joining us live from Canada is our very good friend, Canadian Josh, but he gave me an AI theme song that I'm supposed to play for him.
Oh, okay. No, okay. Well,
yeah.
No, he got a hold of the AI theme song?
Anybody can do it now, man. Anybody. You think it's like having a cat. Anybody can have it.
Well, I did try to download it at my house. I Googled. I just had AI theme song. There's a bunch of things.
AI theme song. That's not what it's called.
And then I couldn't find it.
You would want to put in something like AI custom song generator.
Okay.
And then there'd probably be 40 of them that pops up. We happen to use the one known as it Suno that we use? Josh?
Suno, yeah.
Yeah. So here's Josh's 27-second Canadian Josh theme song. Here we go. Let's see how we did.
Down to the Tom and Dan show. It's Canadian Josh, the #1 BDM. From the land of pines where the maple trees grow. Tom's pop called it Gay Mexico.
Whoa.
You like that?
Gay Mexico. They were gay Mexicans. The Mexican. Oh, I thought I had the Mexican. Oh, I don't even have my stuff in the Mac. Where's my thing? The Mexicans were gay. Sorry, I just wanted to keep going with the song. I like that, Josh. Good job, buddy.
Thanks. Did Pop actually refer to Canada as Gay Mexico?
No.
All right, well, listen, Josh. I'm going to tell you some inside thing.
Tom was joshing.
Every racist thing I pawn off onto my relatives, I thought of. And I just use my relatives.
It's true.
So because I'm like, well, if they say it, I could say it.
Yeah, my dad wasn't creative at all.
And I'm like, I put my hands up. I'm like, I didn't say it. This guy was horrible. The man's dead. Yeah. I shouldn't be ruining his reputation.
He doesn't care.
But
so Pop is just kind of figurative, that's the archetype Southern relative who uses.
He definitely thought that because I know how he thought. He thought way worse.
He didn't think that, but if he'd heard that, he would have laughed at that, right? I think that's fair.
He thought a really horrible.
Yeah, it would have been worse than that.
I can't even tell you. I can't even say it.
So what's been going on, buddy? How are things in Canada? We've got Tom mentioned it.
I can tell you in private.
Tom mentioned it before we came on the show, but we are smack dab in hockey, right? We are in playoff.
Yes, I was going to talk about that.
Playoff hockey is killing it.
It kind of played in when Tom was ranting before while we were doing the warm up about parlays. I did have a parlay recommendation for you, Tom. So,
all right,
Panthers. So your Florida team still in it. Now you guys are more Tampa fans, though, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I have been. I'm always more on the Lightning side of things, and we have friends that broadcast in Tampa. And
see, I'm technically, I would put myself into Florida Panthers.
I would agree with that,
just because they play down south, and then it's funny because I was watching the Panthers game because my buddy the Wizard and his wife are huge Florida Panthers fans.
Oh, nice! I didn't know that.
And a lot of people are down south. But I don't really follow NHL, so really,
Magics.
Whatever Florida team's still in it, I'll root for, whether it be the Lightning or the Panthers. But I did watch the last game of the Panthers and watch them win and move on, and it was pretty exciting. They scored at the last minute.
That was a stinger for me because they were going against my Bruins, and that was the death blow for us out of the playoffs there. But it's impressive the crowds in Florida, like this legit NHL crowds in Southern Florida, which I always find, what gets them into hockey down there? Just.
It's so rare.
I wonder if it's a little
skating.
bit of the air conditioning, right? Like maybe the air conditioning's nice.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
you get sport, but you also get sport ice cold beer, and you're not like melting. Which is not a bad thing.
It's a novelty for us, but like, do you have any idea, Josh, how hot it is right now? Like, I got to run after the show, and me and Dana are walking.
Hot? You guys like 100 degrees already.
Yeah, the high today is going to be around 92, 93.
Yeah, but it feels like 100, whatever it is. Like,
it's still. It's very wet and still. There doesn't seem to be much of a breeze.
Yeah.
Can you convert that to real measurement? What does that mean? Like for the rest of us in the world?
It's an imperial gallon. Is it?
Let me talk some ass about Celsius first.
What, the energy drink? It makes my face red. It makes my face red. And I'm virtually certain it made me feel like my balls fell off.
Yeah.
You ever feel like that, where your testicles disconnect from your torso?
I know that.
Just me?
Like, with Fahrenheit, at least you get, like, when it's over 100, that signifies hot. And that makes sense to everybody.
What's dangerous for Celsius? I don't even know.
What's 100 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit?
It would be around 40. Like, so what I know about Fahrenheit is I know 100 is hot, 70 is basic room temperature, and I think 32 is freezing.
I think I got to go with Tom. Americans know that 100 either means danger or you ace the test. That's it.
Yeah. It's like,
like if the pressure,
it's the most hot.
Yeah, if we had a cauldron
and zero is the most cold.
It's building up pressure like this cauldron, and then we have a gauge, and it tells me like when it gets to what number will it be dangerous. Everybody knows that's 100. That's just logic.
Everything, like, we do everything. The numbers are 100%.
But
it's 100% hot.
If I was looking at a gauge and it said, "Oh, this is going to 40%,"
I was like, "Is that the middle?"
Yeah, I still got 60% left. I'm good.
Yeah, that's the hottest you can get. Oh, stupid Celsius.
40, yeah. Once we hit 40, that's bad. About 35 is our, oh my God. But I think our freezing point makes more sense because that's just plain old 0. 0 degrees, freezing.
Celsius does have a good freezing point because I do agree with you. The logic of 0 being the coldest, and us, Fahrenheit stops at 32. It was a random,
I don't like that one.
But it goes lower.
It doesn't work both ways.
It goes lower,
Yeah.
But,
how do you feel about Kelvin?
What's that British one for weight? They use stones.
Yeah, that's
stones.
The dumbest one.
Stones. Oh, women hate it when you say like, "Oh, you need to lose a few stones." Right? That's what they say when you're fat in England. They're like, she needs to lose a few stones.
That's too archaic. It's a Game of Thrones s.
I think it's 18 pounds, 16 pounds, something like that. But anyway, we're going to talk hockey. So, yes, your Florida Panthers are still in it. They are facing the New York Rangers in the Eastern Conference Final. Yeah, sorry. Tom's Florida Panthers. And in the West, you've got Dallas and Edmonton. Now, we were talking about parlay picks, Tom. You could consider a parlay, take Florida tonight on the point spread, which is 1.5 is the point spread.
Put the camera back on Tom so you can see that this is the only time he'll actually write things down. Look at him. He's very excited.
If you go Florida point spread tonight and then tomorrow, Edmonton Oilers on the money line, that'll pay you 5.30 to 1. So drop $100 on those two, $500.
I would actually trust Josh because he watches a lot of hockey.
Yeah, but I need to shop all my books and see what prices everybody's offering.
The irony of you saying that is so funny to me.
Yeah, that's the problem with parlays too. Is like all the different books will have different prices. So I'll do my shopping. But you like the Panthers, and it's plus 1.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Panthers on the point spread and Oilers on the money. Now, are you completely opposed, Tom, to parlays? Like, would you do it too? Like, what's your limit? Like, what's the upper ceiling for parlay picks for you, if at all?
Well, parlays are not necessarily a horrible bet if you get a correlated parlay. For instance, like if you think it's going to be a low scoring game, right? So taking the Panthers plus 1.5 and the under is a good correlated parlay in that, because if you're like, oh, I believe it's going to be low scoring, so I'll take the points and the under, and those two things could be correlated, because if it is low scoring, then getting a 1.5 is advantageous, and you're going to get the under. So it's like,
that makes sense.
So real professional, but in the broad sense, nobody should do any sort of parlays if you don't know what you're doing and you have no edge. But if you do
that
have
would
an
be
edge,
me.
yeah, you know, because they're a lottery bet, you know, especially like anything over 2 is real ridiculous, you know. 3, 4.
What are you thinking, Josh? That jiving with you, buddy?
Yeah, and I'd say just the safe one: Florida tonight and Edmonton tomorrow.
Now, Josh, let me ask you this, because I know in like playoff NBA, there's been a theme with gambling, at least, where you could actually, and I don't know if the edge is there anymore, but back in the day, gamblers used to ping pong back and forth with whoever won the first game of the series. They bet on the other team.
What are you, like, playing momentum?
Yeah, you're
travel. You're playing travel.
You're just betting the other team, where it's like, okay, the one team has one game up, so it's like the other team feels the pressure. They're gonna
then
maybe
you probably want
to
go Eastern Conference champs, because who won that? Who was?
But in hockey, I don't know if there's any of that where it's like there is some sort of edge in playing the other team. Like, for instance, if Florida does win against the Rangers, if it's good to take the Rangers game too.
Yeah, that would make sense, especially, well, maybe the opposite, because they're playing in New York tonight. And man, like, as far as my picks, I've done the bracket for from the beginning of the playoffs, and I have got every single pick right, like as far as what team's advancing, not necessarily in the number of games. And so I'm going to take the Rangers. I think are going to beat Florida out in 6 games, and then I'm going to take Dallas over Edmonton in 7 games. I'm predicting a New York Rangers, Dallas Stars Stanley Cup final.
So is there any, like, okay, go back to that Panthers game that I watched the ending of. That last goal within the final minute of the game, it seemed like, it went by a defender and then squeeze itself into like a 6-inch.
Yeah, it's hard for me to watch. It's an anxiety thing. When I'm watching, it's rough.
And it's like, like the puck got ricocheted off, and then the Florida Panthers player, I forgot his name, but he just winged it, looked like, and it just went in by pure luck.
Yeah.
Like it just happened to fit into this little slot.
He hit it. He forced the hell out of his luck,
And it's like, and that kind of thing, it's like, well, if you're just taking shots at the goalie and one of them happens to go in, it's like, how do you even put any sort of prediction to that? Or, it's like when the NFL, I kind of get down to where, like, all right, one team scheme versus another team's defense, and the player personnel, there's probably that in the NHL.
It would be the same way. It'd be like what lines are on the ice, who's hurt at the time.
Yeah, there's things like, what goalie.
How fresh is the keeper?
Yeah, it is so hard to score in the NHL, man. Like, the goaltenders are just so big and so fast and so good now. Like, essentially, if they can see it, they're going to stop it. Like, the only way you're scoring now, especially deep in the playoffs with the caliber of goalies, is, like you said, just crazy circumstances. It's got to be a screen in front. There's got to be a tip, because most of these guys now, they see it, they can stop it. It's so hard to score.
And does crowd noise play into it at all? Like, because it seems like they're not. I know they're communicating on the ice, but not as much as like in an NFL game. You're huddled up, you're calling plays.
Well, NBA, they're talking the whole time. You're just chirping.
And
it's not as much as a factor in the NHL. You basically, everybody knows where you're going to be. Like, where to spread out.
Also, I don't know.
You'll see them once in a while. They'll huddle before a face-off, but not.
Have you ever been in the center of the ice when there's a ton of people on? You have.
Oh.
It's hard to hear. because it reflects right off of the ice. Like, it's weird.
But if you don't need to communicate, then that really doesn't play into, like you see in NFL games when a quarterback's trying to audible out of a play, screaming, people can't hear. It's like that is affecting his ability to play.
I don't know this for certain in hockey, but when I normally see it is when they change their lines and you'll see them line up on, and then if some guy's mad, he'll pull his guys in from the line that he's on, and they'll start going at their scheme. They'll start talking there. But.
So is there that much of a home field advantage in hockey that you've seen, Josh?
I think it's just more the emotional support from your fans. I guess, back to the crowd noise thing, I have seen it before where when they're doing changes on the fly, line changes, if there's some confusion on the bench, then you can get a guy, too many guys can go out and potentially get a penalty for too many men on the ice.
Okay.
And when that happens, that's the coach's fault. It's like if somebody didn't hear him, so I guess crowd noise could play into that. But can I just bitch about something real quick with
that's what Tom
replay?
Does. Yeah, that's what Tom does.
Because I was thinking about referees and crowd noise, but instant replays now drive me nuts. With offsides, I've seen them spend up to 7 minutes trying to review an offside for the sake of a couple of centimeters. It didn't really affect the play at all. It happened like a minute before the goal was even scored. You know what I mean? But talking about slowing the game down, that drive, maybe do it like overtime in the playoffs. You can review offsides, but other than that, man. For that amount of time.
Yeah, because it is a little difference. Normally in soccer, you can almost telegraph it. You can see it because the passes are slower. But in hockey, you cannot. And then you're right. They've got all this momentum, and they'll pull it back, and then it'll take a long time.
Oh, and I know they're just sitting there forever.
It takes they need to speed that. You're right. They need to speed that up.
Implement any technology like chips in the ice skates or some way?
I think they do have it. I just don't know if everybody's on board. If that makes sense. It's like they can absolutely do it. It's just but you'd have to have everybody on board, and I don't think everybody is yet.
Yeah. And then if the technology breaks down and you get dependent on it, then what do you do? We're like, oh, yeah, I guess, but you'd go back to the old school way.
You would have safeguards in place,
Anyway, but they got to speed. A lot of people bitch about this with them reviewing stuff for so long because the referees don't want to get it wrong because it's on national television people so they have to review it to make sure it's right. But then for what?
Yeah, this reminds me of the time I got really high laying in bed and I was thinking about this and I was thinking about the EPL and I was thinking because it was a call and it was really slowing down a really fast soccer match and I thought to myself, why don't they just delay the broadcast by a full hour, right? And start the game 1 hour late for the broadcast. And then whenever they go to review, or 30 minutes, you could do 15, 30 minutes. And then whenever you go to review a play, don't show me that. Just eat up a little bit of that time. And
so you're behind by about 30 minutes.
Yeah, you're behind by 30 minutes. That way, when you are executing it and I'm watching it live, there's a built-in buffer for you to keep it moving for me. I don't know. I was really high when I thought of it.
I see. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, the only problem is that then it gets into the gambling aspect of it.
Yeah. Somebody's there. You couldn't do it.
Which has
gambling is sort of ruining sports. It really is. And I know you can't argue that it's not. Because, look, the NFL, everything is all messed up. It's gross. It's like everybody's betting on everything. Oh, we got a guy down there. He's looking at the Gatorade color. It's like just get that the hell out. No, it's not making it better.
It makes it more exciting. Who cares?
I'm sport for sport. I watch the sport because I enjoy my Atlanta Falcons. I don't give a damn about how much money. I don't care about making money.
Why do you care if they win?
Because I like that team. You know what I'll make money on? My talent. I'll make money on betting on some other guy trying to control things I can't control.
It's just emotionally, you're like, I want them to win for my own happiness.
No, I've invested,
I need money.
I have followed them for long enough to know that, yes, I am emotionally invested. When I go to make money, I don't make it trying to believe in things that aren't real. I don't make it trying to control factors I can't control. Because gambling, you're always losing. It's always losing. It's only fun if you enjoy losing.
Well, you can win. Yeah, you can.
But I've never seen it. So when I see it, I'll change my tune.
Well, it's too hard to do it.
Show me the win, and I'll change my tune.
I'd have to quit my job, spend 80 hours a week just to have a small edge, only to get kicked out of the book.
It's ruining sports. What else you got, Josh?
Okay, Tom, how about a good old I'm just like you, Tom story? I think I've mentioned it to you guys before that one of the appeals of the show is that I relate with various aspects of each of your personalities. So, Tom, I have gotten myself into, it's currently an active situation. I am currently in the middle of a Paul Van situation.
All right.
Oh, we have a lot of these going on right now.
Yeah.
And like the moment it started to happen. So the backstory is, I have a pug. His name's Hank.
I like Hank. I'm a fan of Hank. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, he's a beauty. He's his own guy. But anyway, we're out walking, and you see people on the walks who you know, right? And it's always funny. I know the dogs' names, but I don't know the owners. So anyway, I see Chocolate Lab Guy. So Chocolate Lab Guy comes up, and he said, "Oh, look!" And Hank walked up to him, and he goes, "Oh, it's Huey. How is Huey doing?" And then there was my moment to say, his name is not Huey. His name is Hank. But I didn't do it. I just kind of like floated above my body. I didn't correct him. So now it's Huey this and Huey that.
Huey
see him on the trail this morning. It's Huey. And now I'm having to tell my wife, when you're out with Hank and you see Chocolate Lab Guy, make sure you let him know that it's not Hank, it's Huey. And she's like, no, I'm going to tell him immediately.
Why don't you find out his dog's name? Hold on. Counter it. Find out his dog's name, and he's like, oh, this is Buster. And then start calling.
Ella. Her name is Ella.
Okay,
so...
then you have to call his dog's name by a different name. Call her Penelope next time you see her.
So you're saying to maybe initiate the correction, and then I would correct him and say,
so walk up to him and go like, oh, it's Penelope, and then go petting his dog, and then he'll go, no, this is Ella, and be like, well, it wasn't Huey, it was Hank. Good day.
He will be Huey forever. The only thing is my wife runs into him, she'll correct him. But
what's wrong with correcting him?
I don't know, Tom. Yeah. Like, why do we do this? Because do you remember when she first called you Paul Van? Did you have that moment? You're like, I need to stop this now.
Yeah, because first I always tell myself I need to stop this. We're like, well, hold on. I'm like, I can't have alcohol every day. and then next thing you know, they're like, oh my God, hold on. How many
where am I?
How many years has it been? Anyway, but the problem is when you don't you don't correct them. For the first couple times, you're like, who cares? Because I don't care about anything.
Well, by not correcting them, you're showing that you don't care about them in a weird way. You're showing that they don't matter to you.
Yeah.
It's complete and utter indifference.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't care what you call my dog because you don't matter in my life.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know if this comes to a surprise to anybody, but I don't care about people's animals' names at all.
Well, you don't care about you care about you and your family, and that's it. Which is not a bad way of living.
No, but that makes me sound like a D-head.
No, I don't mean, like, I'm not saying you're not generous and stuff. I mean, just with your priorities, it's you and your family, and a lot of the other stuff is incidental.
Like when you show me your iguana, and you're like, my iguana's name is Fred. I'm like, you didn't have to tell me that.
I'm the guy. You show me the iguana. I'll talk to you about it, because I'm a normal, regular, caring, sensitive, emotional person.
I will never need to know your iguana's name is Fred. I will never call it Fred.
This is where it gets dickheady. This is where it gets dickheady.
It doesn't. Well, no, I'm just telling you what I think. I'm not going to tell you. When you tell me, I'm like, I just smile, like, I don't care. But it's like you're wasting your life telling me this. Don't care. Don't need to know. We'll never. It doesn't need to know. It has no concept of names.
You don't need to go that far.
It's a jungle animal.
You don't need to go that far. You don't need to go that far.
Dogs at least will respond to their name. Although,
then don't tell me about your gambling if you don't want to hear about my iguana. Okay.
Well,
don't tell me about your correlated parlay or whatever.
That can be useful.
It's not useful. You're only losing.
A dog's name is never useful.
The animal, at least you get emotional support out of it. The gambling, you're just taking your money and flushing it down the toilet.
Emotional support is BS.
Okay. That's all right. I would guess that anybody that would talk to us and say both of us have our emotions in check, and we got it right.
How does a dog?
So do I just ride this out then? Like leave the name wrong, and from now to the end of time?
No, why don't you just let your wife handle it? Let your wife handle it.
This dog emotionally supports me.
Well, you don't have to declare it like that. You spend time with it.
It's an animal.
It's not like that.
Anyway.